This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
AFL. On your radio.
On digital. And take us with you on the ABC Listener.
Look for the AFL button.
The last time Hawthorn played here at Docklands, they were too much for a hapless North Melbourne. Unfortunately, though, for the Hawks, they've proven to be a fair bit off the rest of the competition. How close are they to a middling Western Bulldogs team? We're about to find out under the roof at Docklands as the Sunday slate in round 8 continues. Corbin Middlemass with you on ABC Sport. Alongside me to call the footy is Matt Clinch. Hello, Clinchy.
Hello, Corby. Good afternoon to everyone. Yes, well, Sam Mitchell put it on his charges last week that he said he couldn't question the effort. That was certainly not the view in the ABC commentary box with a 76-point loss at the hands of the Sydney Swans. But John Newcombe was very much echoing his thoughts that the endeavour was there, but the challenges get greater, don't they? With no Marbiel Chol this afternoon. Mitch Lewis isn't returning, so we get to see one of the great stories. Kalsha Deer will make his debut. He is the son of the late Paul Deer, the 1991 Norm Smith medalist for the Hawks, and we get to see the next generation on display this afternoon. But for the Western Bulldogs, they also have their own debutant. Charlie Clark comes in to make his debut, but this is the type of match that if the Dogs are going to be a top 8 side, they should win, and win by a fair margin.
No late change. Oscar Baker is going to start as the sub for the Western Bulldogs, and the Wizard, Nick Watson, is going to start as the sub for the Hawks. Two-time Hawthorn Premiership player, a man who endured last Sunday with us at the MCG. He's back hoping for more, as the rest of us are hoping for bigger and better today on ABC Sport. Two-time Premiership Hawk, Brad Saul. Hello, Saulie.
Corby, Clinchy, hello to everybody at home. And yes, we did endure and survive last week, so let's hope this week proves to be a little bit more entertaining. And I've got a slight concern because the Western Bulldogs are playing at a ground they are very strong at. I was watching Mitch in the warm-up and the pre-game in the rooms and out on the ground. He's got a bit of a look in his eye. So let's hope that we see that through his players today.
Alongside Brad Saul is the coaching icon himself, three-time Premiership coach, Premiership player, former coach of old Footscray, but given the fact Kalsha Deer's making his debut today, there may be a few mentions of the 91 Grand Final. So I apologise in advance, Mick Moldhouse, but it's great to have you with us on ABC.
Oh, thanks, Corby, Matt, Sully, and all our listeners. No, I'm thrilled to see this. Paul Deer had for all the champions in that Hawthorn side, it was quite fitting because it was a real windy, mongrel day. It needed someone to be best, and he was clearly. Oh, I thought he was best on the ground, and he duly won the award. But yeah, it's a far cry from what Hawthorn looked like in 91 to now. But I just look back over Hawthorn's history, and they were going to merge with Melbourne until someone stood up. John Kennedy got them their first premiership in 1961. So they haven't been a great football club up until probably the Kennedy era when they started to get a bit of credibility. They've still got credibility. This club will fight back. We know some have got the chance to do so. They might take small steps. On the other side, flip side, the Dogs are almost admitted at the same time into the AFL or into the VFL. So not a lot of premierships they're in, but I'm excited by just watching outside of the Bont, who I just hope wins a Brownlow for his sake. I just think he's that good. I really want to see Darcy stand up again. I just reckon this kid has got such a great future, and he just seems such a nice kid. So there's a lot to like about this, but both teams today.
Jamara Ugle-Hagan is back to lead the Western Bulldogs forward line, not just today, but for the next 2 years. So the huge signature announced overnight, 2 more years. He'll be here until 2026.
It's good.
There were 2 clubs that came hard for him, offered huge deals over many years. One was Hawthorn, one was Richmond. And appropriately, the next 2 weeks, the Bulldogs play Hawthorn and then they play Richmond, just how it happened. So short-term deal for Jamara. Reportedly worth to be close to $1 million a year, but there were many clubs, Mick, that were offering much more for him over a longer period. He's clearly comes with a high reputation. He's done an awful lot at this stage of his career, only 22 years of age. He's missed the last couple of weeks, but nice to see him back out there.
Oh, it's fantastic, and particularly the way. There's been a lot of criticism of Luke Beveridge. I like the way Luke goes about it. He goes about it his own way. He's not drawn by media or anyone else. And if we just cast our mind back to when Ugle-Hagan was drafted, everyone thinks, he'll be straight in the side. No, he kept him out for a long, long time.
That's right.
Because he said he's not ready. And when you had a look at him play, he wasn't ready. He had no defensive mechanism whatsoever. He was light. He was going to be easy knocked around. And as it turned out, when he did start playing football, that did take place. He wasn't overly defensive and he was getting knocked around. So, again, he's another one that you've just seen week by week by week mature into the AFL, mature as a player. I don't know if his defensive work is great, but he's certainly his offensive work, and he's such a great target. And I think they need him, given Norton doesn't always deliver multiple goals. So it's fantastic for the Dogs, really fantastic.
I heard the argument that Errol Goulden could have got as much as 10 years if he wanted to leave the Sydney Swans and join a new club. 2 years for Jamari Ugle-Hagan. Is it sort of hedging his bets? He gets a look as to what the Western Bulldogs look like, and I'm sure if he wanted a longer term deal, a 5 or 6 year deal at 22, as Corbin said, they probably would have entertained that.
Oh, no doubt. So I'm anti 7 or 8 year deals, only because the factor is that this game is so unpredictable with knees and concussions and form and the way you're built. But I think he's what's the word?
Hedging his bets.
Hedging his bets, and I think he's doing that for a very good reason. Is that the Dogs have promised so much for some time, and they'll probably, there's a few young kids coming through, so he could come through with that group. Darcy's one of them. Don't underestimate what one big key player can do to a side. We've seen that right through history. And if you analyse his game, the way he plays in the forward line, then they're likely to play together they'll do it for the next 2 years. And he might weigh it up on the basis of how they're going. And rightfully so too, I think, Matt.
Just repeating, no late change here at Docklands. The two subs, Oscar Baker for the Bulldogs, and for Hawthorn it is Nick Watson. Full-time at the MCG, Fremantle by 9 goals over Richmond. Hayden Young was best of field, got top votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year with 30 disposals and 2 goals. It felt like, Sawley, we were there last Sunday at the G, it felt like the preparation for this week for the Hawks started almost immediately. That we spoke to John Newcombe post-game and the positive spin had already started to come through. So despite the fact they lost by 76 points, which was the heaviest defeat for any club so far this year, they were spruiking the positives. More contested possessions, more clearances. Take us inside a club in a week like this after such a heavy defeat. But what would Sam Mitchell be hoping to try and bring out of his group today?
That positivity is really difficult. They are, clearly, bottom 2 side of the competition in terms of, the list makeup, age, talent, all of that at the moment. So, really, the real challenge for the club and for the coaches is to remain positive and to keep spirits high. And you're right, that started straight after the game last week, because it's very easy as a player. You start absorbing what's being said on the outside to really get disenchanted with your performances, and the club then doesn't become an enjoyable place to be, which clearly you're not going to get performances and get the best out of yourself then. So I'm sure Mitch and the footy club, they're setting themselves for a strong second half of the year. Importantly, that should then become the launch pad for next year. Of course, easier said than done. They've been savaged by injury pre-season and still remains now. They're a long way from having their best players on the park. And even if they did, you'd still wonder whether they would be competitive against top sides. So they're in a really difficult position. And in doing so, they need to keep the spirits high and have the players engaged and wanting to come to the footy club.
Sam Mitchell learnt that any time when you've only got one win for a season, you're going to be scrutinised, and he sprayed a Jack Scrimshaw at quarter time, having taken the risk to kick through the middle of the ground. And at that stage, Hawthorn had conceded a few quick goals. It was 6 goals to 2 at quarter time. But how do you try and impose your leaders to very much set the standard on field? Because that would be his frustration of trying to advance that progression on field as much as off field.
It's a journey. It's really difficult. And Sam knows that every reaction that he has, positively or negatively, is going to be judged, and the media are going to make comments about whether he is or he isn't doing the right thing for this young group. And so this journey that he and the leaders and the club are on, it's about them trying to set those standards and those behaviours that will hold them in good stead for years to come. And hopefully the lessons that this core group of players can learn now is something they can build on going forward.
The harmony at the Bulldogs has been questioned by current player during the week, Sam Draper. Wasn't during the week, it was a couple of weeks ago, but the comments surfaced this week talking about a couple of want-away dogs at the end of the year if Beveridge remains as the coach. Well, he's there for the time being, despite the fact they've lost 3 of their last 4. We're having the coin toss in the middle of the ground and then the observance in a few moments' time, of course, for domestic violence, which we've seen across the weekend. Rory Campbell is the 5th member of our team. He's in the front row of the grandstand. Good afternoon, Rory.
Good afternoon, team. Was just watching Cal Shadir go through his the motions there in the warm-up. 195 centimetres at 18 years old. Sam Mitchell spoke during the week about how he probably won't be out-muscled. Very athletic-looking, lovely-looking set shot for goal.
Looking forward to seeing how he goes this afternoon, along with Charlie Clark, the pair on debut, one for either team. So the players, the coaches and the umpires lock arms in the middle.
AFL industry, if you are able, please rise as we pay tribute to the women whose lives have been tragically cut short due to violence. The football world is united as we come together to say enough is enough, and this must stop. Behind every death is a woman who lived and who was loved. When it comes to violence against women, the only acceptable figure is 0. We remember all the women who have been killed in gender-based violence and stand in solidarity in committing to doing more to stop this community-wide problem. Please pause for a moment as we pay our respects and join in a silent tribute to those women who have lost their lives. Thank you.
So both teams with 4 changes, Hagen, Clark, Liberatore and Baker, the 4 in for the Bulldogs from the team that lost to Fremantle in Perth, while for the Hawks, Watson, Ward, Deer and D'Ambrosio, the 4 that come in from the team that was defeated by the Swans. 99 years on since they both entered the VFL together back in 1925, and appropriately they're both wearing the exact same jumpers that they wore in the 1925 season. So Hawthorn is their heritage strip, predominantly all in brown with the yellow V and the yellow HFC symbol on the bottom of the jumper, the lower left. And for the Western Bulldogs, the old Footscray strip, all in royal blue with the red and the white stripe around the middle.
I did not know that. Isn't that fantastic, mate? I knew they were around about the same time. I think I mentioned it to you off air, or maybe it wasn't here. So it's a
1925, 99 years.
1925, and since in that time we've seen probably 2 teams leave to become someone else, and 4 teams, 6 teams enter.
Yeah. It's amazing. 99 years on, we get to see the latest edition of it, the Hawks and the Bulldogs. Anyone tipping the upset? Not here.
No, I can't see it.
Quenchy?
I hope it's close.
Yep. I think we're all hoping for that. Let's see what we get from the Hawks here. Just the 1 win so far this season, and that was against the hapless Roos a fortnight ago on this ground. Can they back it up against the middle-of-the-road Bulldogs? Hoping to get back in the winners list this afternoon. It's the Dogs and the Hawks on ABC Sport. You're with Matt Clinch.
It's Tim English and Lloyd Meek to get things underway. Meek wins down the tap, but it's Bontempelli for the Dogs. Hand pass away to Treloar, kicks inside 50. Gallagher out of position, spoiled away by Impey. Norton Rose, hand pass to Vandermeer, steams towards goal and kicks the opening of the match. The perfect start for the Western Bulldogs inside 20 seconds. Lathan Vandermeer has the Dogs on the board. They're 1 straight 6 to Hawthorn yet to score. You had Brad Sewell and Mick Malthouse. If you weren't quick in your seat, you would have missed it.
Perfect start for the Bulldogs, Mick.
Well, you've been in the middle before, mate. If you lose that first one and they're able to break out with a bloke that can kick the football, you're in dire straits, aren't you? Because you're still trying to get your players in order. If the full forward comes out and takes possession of football and they've got runners going past, you can get caught out very, very quickly. But the first hand by Bontempelli, I think it was.
Yep, Meek one down the tap, and then Bontempelli took it from that onwards, and they're away.
Yeah, well,
4 disposals for a goal.
He's a champion.
That's not what Sam Mitchell would have wanted. Took 20 seconds. Late Vandermeer kicks the first goal of the day, and the Hawks haven't touched it. Back in the middle, Meek palms it down. Underneath it, Newcomb extracts it, and Day's clipped high. And the tackle from English. Oh, but it's coming back before that. It's a throw going against Newcomb on the bottom of the pack. So, unfortunately for Day, he got a coat hanger for nothing. Treloar, hand pass to Dale, kicks towards English, who drifted forward. He was off as soon as that free kick was paid. And English gets in a dangerous position, takes the mark 15 out straight in front.
So just a couple of things. Centre bounce. I'm just watching English cross the line, comes around and almost faces the same way as the Hawthorn ruckman, which then opens up the back area for them to take possession, which they've done now twice. And his first call is straight down the ground.
Gee, we hoped for more for Hawthorn. Certainly out of the gates, it could not have started worse, as Tim English makes it 2 in a minute. Oh boy, the Dogs setting a brisk early pace. 2 straight 12, Hawthorn yet to score. We've literally gone 1 minute and 13 seconds on the game clock. Nick Malthouse, Brad Saul, Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Well, only they yet to score. They haven't had a touch yet, the Hawthorn.
No.
Bailey Dale running off half-back. That is his MO. You cannot give him time and space to receive those handballs. He's so dangerous. So the Hawthorn half-forwards need to be aware of that.
There's some work done down there on Darcy, but he held his... Well, he got pushed away, but he held enough ground for his direct opponent. Couldn't then get to English. So, very, very interesting, isn't it?
It's 7 disposals to none.
I know what I'd be doing if I was in the... Grab their ball and feel it.
I'll wake them up to try and start the match again. English just slaps it forward for the Dogs. Liberatore charges after it, bounces into Carl Amon, high contact. And another chance for the Dogs with Libba putting his head over the footy. I'm sure there's a lot Carl Amon could do on that occasion.
Absolutely nothing.
Making his return, Tom Liberatore. Inside 50, Darcy rises, can't take the mark. And the tackle is laid on Harry Morrison, locking him up is Harvey Gallagher. And it's only 35 metres out from the Western Bulldogs goal. Toss in the air. Meek wins down the tap. Sicily was on the move. Can't take it. D'Ambrosio dies to knock it clear. Bontempelli almost loomed. Quick clearing kick by Jarman Impey. A chance for the Dogs. On to the hands of Adam Treloar. Fires towards goal. They might have got their third. We'll go upstairs to work out whether Frost claimed it before it was across the line. I think he might have claimed it after.
It's a goal for sure.
And defenders are a little vulnerable in these moments of not knowing where the goal line is, but I think he's going to look up and realise he's the wrong side of it.
Just control before it across the line.
Review underway. Oh no.
Does he have the ball in his hands before it crosses the line or after is what the ARC will be having a look at.
Well, if they count the thickness of the padding...
Yep.
It's over the white line. Is it behind the padding? I don't know whether the padding counts if it's not.
I think it does.
But yeah, it only counts if it's
Review complete.
hit.
Look at this angle. We can see the ball was controlled prior to crossing the back of the goal line. Decision on scoreboard.
Sam Frost takes the biggest breath under Docklands, getting the narrowest of calls, and it's the Bulldogs who lead by 13 points, but it's better than leading by 18 points.
Well, I reckon he's been
Oh, he's paid the mark. Okay, right. I thought the behind. He said he completed the mark. I don't know about that.
Not only that, it was behind the line.
So Frost to take it for the Hawks. It's been a grim start. The Dogs with 2 goals in 2 minutes. Long kick out to half-back, and here he is. Kel Shadir, the young man on debut. His first possession is a hand pass to the running Carl Amon, who kicks down that City wing. Clean bowls Ward at the back. He's Bramble against his old team for the first time. Hand pass for the Bulldogs. Away towards Williams. He gives it back by hand to Johannesson, and he retreats with the kick to Jones. Has it at half-back for the Bulldogs.
He looks out to the wing where Buku Kamas takes the mark. Centre wing looking to turn defence into attack. And he looks up the wing. Decides to go short to Bontempelli. Missed the intended target. A chance for Warple to gather for the Hawks into the middle of the ground. A kick which set Newcombe a challenge. He's locked onto by Libba. And the umpire circles and will pull it up. Just short of centre-half forward for the Western Bulldogs. They're 2 straight 12. It's a Hawthorn yet to score on ABC Sport. Umpire throws it aloft. English and Meek tangle. Meek wins down the tap, but Liberatore's over it once more. Hand pass to his teammate Bontempelli, who swings onto the left from the edge of the centre square. Goes for home and gets there. The Bonts on the board for the Bulldogs. 3 goals in the opening 6 minutes as the Doggies get away to the fast start. They're 3 straight 18 to Hawthorn yet to score. It's 17 disposals to 6. It's 4 inside 50s to none.
Well, you said 17 disposals. That's just under 6 disposals per goal.
Yeah.
We went through the game like that. Well, it wouldn't happen, but you 30 or 40 possessions per goal, you're going okay. You can't. This is where coaches, unfortunately, you have to sit on your hands. You cannot put a man behind the ball just to protect for a few minutes. So you've got to put up with it. But I would be starting my wingers back on the... You're allowed to start right way back. That's where I start my wingers for a start off. So they can cut across and just see if they can, put numbers through the corridor just to stop it for a couple of seconds, or a minute.
Baker and Watson, the two subs. No late change coming in. 3 straight goals for the Bulldogs to start as Meek wins it down to Nash. Hand pass to Impey off the back of the square. At first inside 50 for the Hawks. Heads out to Hardwick. Leaps up, no mark. Follows up at ground level. Hand pass away towards Warple, who's got the socks up today. Kick smothered. Ricochets back into the corridor. McKenzie cleans it up for the Hawks. Hand pass to Connor McDonald. Gives it to Hardwick. Back to Warple. Kick redirected on the smother. Connor McDonald reloads. Hand pass to Ward. Gives it to Meek. High up and under top of the goal square. Karma spills down to Nash. Hand pass to McKenzie. His left footer got none of it. And Dale takes the intercept mark, fullback for the Bulldogs.
Call to play on, looks out to Johannesson. Sicily coming late, made the spoil. And Johannesson got underneath.
Well, whose free kick is that?
McInnes, and it is going to be 50. So, yeah, it could have easily been contact below the knees.
Well, it was contact below the knees.
Against Johannesson. The umpire deemed it was high contact on Johannesson, and then 50 to boot. So he's taken to the middle of the ground, kicks up towards English. It's spoiled away by Warple of the Hawks. McInnes' hand pass missed the intended target. Nash might make it work. Was he tripped? No whistle. Play on Sakul. Lunging in Johannesson for the Bulldogs. Richards lays the tackle. Big Lloyd Meek is over the top of the footy, so the umpire will ball it up between wing and half forward for the Western Bulldogs. They lead by 18 points.
Rory Campbell is on the boundary. Rory.
Hey guys, after that collision involving Tom Liberatore a little bit earlier, the Dogs medical staff were watching over some vision. Liberatore's just come from the field, and that's the staff are having a chat with him now.
Oh, that is interesting. Keep us up to date with that. Thanks, Rory. Obviously, first game back for Libba since he collapsed on this ground a fortnight ago against the Bombers, as Newcombe sends a kick to half forward. Eventually ends up with McKenzie, high half forward, kicks wide, and the mark taken by Moore. He was pretty good last week in a team well beaten. Picked up some coaches' votes, the only Hawthorn player to do so. Looks for Gunston in the pocket, and Richards whacks it out of play. Boundary throw in forward pocket for Hawthorn. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clinch, Brad Sewell, Mick Moldhouse, Rory Campbell.
I've just noticed Corby, a player from Hawthorn, has gone back behind the ball from their forward line, so just to steady it up a little bit. That deprives them of a player up there, but at least it steadies it.
Thrown back in, the Hawks in attack. Meek tries to flick it over the back. Nash's hand pass to Gunston. Nice sidestep. The veteran swings it over his shoulder and puts through there first. And boy, did they need that. Just to stem the avalanche at the other end. The Bulldogs 3 straight 18 to Hawthorn 1 straight 6. Jack Gunston, of course, comes from Beau Morris, the same club as Cal Shadia. He played a key part in his progression into AFL footy.
Oh, just an experienced goal, really.
Good finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a very good finish. Under pressure, got to go to the non-preferred side, but just smart enough to back out of with the ball, just to, probably put the Footscray player or the Bulldogs player just out of reach of touching it. Smart play.
Rory is on the boundary. Rory.
Hey guys, Tom Liberatore back on the field, so obviously being given the all clear to continue, which is fantastic news.
Thanks, Rory. James Morrissey was actually here to present the jumper to Cal Shadia earlier today from a Hawk. Played in 3 premierships, kept Chris Lewis quiet in the 91 grand final. Known as the Freak by his teammates, so nice to see him present Paul Deer's young bloke with his jumper earlier today as Newcombe goes long into the pocket. Moore, hand pass to Guinea, tried to kick outside of the right boot. Ginnivan's kick goes across the goal face, opposite pocket. McInnes drops a mark. He's tackled now by Dale and a ball up. And his mum, Cherie, by the way, Cal Shadia's mum, had to come back from overseas to make sure she was here to made it in time and is here to watch her son make his debut today as the Dogs win up last line of defence. Libba, hand pass to Jones, kicks out wide to the former Demon Harms against the boundary line, half back for the Dogs.
Swings on his right, kicks up towards the debutant Clark, outnumbered, it's spoiled away by him. Bontempelli for the Dogs, hand pass away, links up with Garcia, the turnover through the hands of Clark. Newcombe inside 50 and Jack Ginnivan marks. In game 50, he looks to centre it, charging forward. Connor McDonald, it's wide of him. He tries to break the English tackle. Hand pass to Lloyd Meek. Can the ruckman finish it? Smothered by Dale. Spills out to Harms. Hand pass missed. Bailey Dale. Liam Jones cleans it up though. Hand pass to Dale. He's corralled by Gunston up against the behind line and then steps over the boundary line. And a boundary throw-in in the end. James O'Donnell thought enough of this. A throw-in up against the right behind post. The Hawks in attack. The Bulldogs by 12 points.
Dogs overhand passing right in front of us on the wing here for a start. That's where they lost the first one, and now they've overhand passed and been trapped in their back half now.
Bulldogs by 12 points from the boundary throw in. English wins it down. Gunston for 2 minutes. He snaps but misses. Hits the post. Far goal post from the right forward pocket and behind. So Hawks have settled. They conceded 3 goals before you could blink. It's now 3 straight to 1-1. 11-point advantage early for the Bulldogs after 12 minutes. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
They've had more possessions, which is quite remarkable given they didn't touch it the first 3 goals.
Dale into Johannesson. A beautiful kick out to Tim English, who had a few metres on Lloyd Meek. He takes the mark at right half back. The Bulldogs 3 straight 18. Hawthorn 1-1-7. Opening quarter action on ABC Sport. He sends it out wider still to right half back, and the mark is taken by Tom Liberatore. He's had the head shaved after missing last week. Comes back inside the defensive 50 to Johannesson, trying to survey the options out of defence. Goes short, and Williams takes the mark. Back into the centre square. Around the back to Bailey Dale. His kick is smothered by Moore. Ricochets back to Dale. Quick hand pass to Liberatore. To Williams around the outer side. Treloar was caught flat-footed. Tackled by Day. A chance of the Hawks. McGuinness. Hand pass too sharp for Connor McDonald. Bontempelli just willed it back. Gathers the Bulldog skipper at right half forward. Drives it inside 50. Ugle-Hagen's there. Norton crashes the back. They probably took each other out of the end. Scrimshaw gathers. Hand pass to Frost. The Hawks out of defence. Weddle with a hand pass to Impey at left half back. Stringing the hand passes around the boundary line. One way then the other McGuinness. Hand pass back to Impey. And now to Sicily. He shanks a kick along the ground. It might work out as Connor Nash gathers centre wing and kicks up to Gunston.
He marks between wing and half forward. The Dogs racing back to try and support. And they got plenty of blue jumpers inside that defensive 50 now. Gunston pokes a short pass over the top to Will Day. And the Crimmins medalist from last year takes the mark. Best and fairest winner at the Hawks. Left half forward. Just sends a very high bomb to the top of the goal square. Newcomb running out after it. Jones puts his fist through it. Down to O'Donnell. Hand pass away towards Garcia. Jinking run off half back. Hand pass to Clark in the middle of the ground. Steps around McKenzie. The first gamer outside of the right boot turns it over. And Sicily marks centre half back for Hawthorn.
Hawthorn had to spare behind the ball there, and that quick play by the Bulldogs meant they couldn't get the numbers forward to provide option.
No, he's spot on. And that's good play by Hawthorn to get that player there. They needed a player there just to settle it down. They were getting cut apart. But the Dogs are overusing the football with their hands. That's what's bringing them undone at the moment.
Brad Sewell and Mick Moldhouse with you on ABC Sport. As Weddle marks on the broadcast wing, he can work it wider still, and McKenzie marks. The Bulldogs have a number of players in their defensive half, so Cam McKenzie turns and comes inboard. D'Ambrosio has it between wing and half forward. The former Bomber looks inside 50. Lloyd Meek is the deepest target. Gunston's in the pocket. He's going to go shorter into the middle of the ground, and Ward takes the mark. Still no really closer to goal, though, as Tim English is just sitting in the hole 15 metres out from Hawthorn's goal. Ward swings onto his left-hand side, drives it in the direction of Meek. He'll fly against 3. He got hands to it, couldn't hang on, but there was a hold. Was shepherded in the marking contest in the eyes of the umpire. And Lloyd Meek, the most unlikely full forward, loomed as the most dangerous target for Hawthorn.
Tim English coming back with the flow of the ball had eyes only for Meek and tried to get his body.
Yeah, he was trying to allow his backline play to mark it instead of going for it himself.
It's too obvious.
So he was able to kick a 75 metre kick from the middle of the ground a couple of weeks ago. This is more stock standard. A set shot on a 45-degree angle, 30 metres out from goal. Just the 9 goals throughout his career, but Lloyd Meek comes in and finishes with class. The ruckman helping the Hawks fight back after a slow start. The Bulldogs 3 straight 18, Hawthorn 2-1-13. 15 minutes gone in the opening term. The Hawks are the last 2 goals of the match. Brad Sewell and Mick Moldhouse, your experts.
Well, Matt, not only the last 2 goals. I'd be surprised that the Dogs have got the ball inside their front 50. Well, probably front 30 anyway. They might have dribbled in over the line, but the Hawks have actually taken control of the game. And I reckon that play behind the ball, Sully, is causing all sorts of problems because, as you say, a quick play, if you a quick play bouncing the football and you look up and you've got a target, then you're hesitant, you overhand pass, you go wide to protect the ball, and it's worked beautifully because the Dogs have turned the ball over, and that's what's given the opportunity for Hawthorn to get back in this game.
Well, interestingly, they first 7 disposals, the Dogs kicked 2 goals, and Hawthorn hadn't touched it at that stage. So from that point on, Hawthorn have had 19 more disposals. They've kicked 2 goals to 1 in the space since, so Hawthorn controlling greater periods of this opening term, despite the fact that the Dogs got the jump.
But there's nothing in the game now.
Corbin Middlemass alongside Matt Clinch, Rory Campbell on the boundary, Mick Moldhouse and Brad Sewell, your call team. Out of the middle, Day grabs it, tackled high by Liberatore. A free kick for the rangy Will Day in the middle of Docklands. 16 and a half minutes into the opening term, 3 straight to 2-1. Bulldogs by 5. Hawks going forward. Day with a high bomb to the hotspot. They come from all directions, and Liam Jones, good mark. Shielded the drop zone and takes the mark in front of Gunston. He heads out wide towards half-back. Mark taken, and a short kick there from Gallagher. He finds Harms, and Harms goes wide to Charlie Clark. Man on debut, was drafted in the 2022 draft, didn't play at all last year, and second year on the list, gets his start now as he goes down towards Norton, leaps up for it, spills through to Dale, took on the tackler. Morrison said, come here. Lays a huge tackle and wins the footy back for Hawthorn on the back flank. The Bulldogs by 5 points, 17 minutes into the opening quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. There's a melee, Clinchy.
There certainly is. So Frost is involved. Sicily comes as no surprise. Newcomb, you watch that. I'll follow the footy as the Hawks kick it up to the wing. Flying in the pack was Deer. It spills down. A chance for Newcomb. He gathers centre wing. Bursts away from Karmas. Hand pass over the top to McInnes. He runs inside 50. Steadies. No one between him and the goals, and he misses to the left-hand side. A tagger with a golden opportunity to give the Hawks the lead. Who would have thought that? It's the Bulldogs by 4 points. 18 minutes gone, opening quarter.
We had grave fears in the opening few minutes of this game after the Dogs with their first 7 possessions kicked 2 goals, opening 2 minutes of play. Gallagher out of defence, goes long to the wing. Vandermeer can't mark, and in the end the bot skids out with it in front of the interchange gates. Bulldogs by 4 points. Some breaking news coming through from the Giants. It's good news for the competition. Tom Green has been cleared of serious damage to his ankle, so subbed out yesterday in the Sydney Derby. So they're yet to rule him out for that game against Essendon next Saturday here at Docklands. So good news. He'll undergo further testing later in the week, but no serious damage. The boundary throw in Morrison, who won a holding the ball call moments ago, now concedes one. Wrapped up by Harms, and the Dogs win it at the coalface. They'll have it from that boundary throw-in. On the broadcast wing, the Bulldogs still by 4 points, 19 minutes opening term.
Arms into the pocket, looking for Ugelhagen, who got rid of the smaller Hardwick illegally, says the umpire. A shove in the back.
Yeah, that's
Hardwick's been a spare for Hawthorn, drifting back and getting in the way again for Ugelhagen. He didn't have to put the hands in the back. He could have just nudged him under the ball, but made it far too obvious.
So Jamara, having missed through personal reasons, had to give the ball to Hardwick, who kicks along towards Deer on the wing. He's worked underneath it, and Buku Karmas takes the mark for the Bulldogs. Hand pass away to O'Donnell. Up towards Norton. He's worked out of it by Scrimshaw. No free kick. Oh, hang on. Maybe there is a late whistle, and it will come back to Aaron Norton.
Yeah, the umpire on their left-hand side there, Matt, called that one.
So he's probably not completely beyond range. He's about 53 metres out, and now points towards the big sticks. With the white headband and the long blonde locks, he's out to the left. He'll have to kick every bit of 55 metres. Aaron Norton decides to just put it to the teeth of goal. Ugelhagen comes out and couldn't believe it cleared all the fingertips to land in his lap. Tim English crashed the pack, and Connor Nash is knocked out of the marking contest, and Jamara Ugelhagen hugs it to his chest like a prize collection.
Yeah, it's quite often when two players lead it like that, they attack the bloke in front and the ball just falls to the behind because there's such a vacuum behind. He ran into that vacuum and found it.
Only about 25 metres out, slightly left of centre. Jamara's back, and he puts through his opening goal of the match. Ugelhagen's on the board, and the Bulldogs respond after Hawthorn kicked the last 2 goals of the match to restore a 10-point advantage. 4 straight 24 to the Hawks 2-2-14. Jamara Ugelhagen with his 10th goal of the season. The thoughts of Mick Moldhouse and Brad Sewell on ABC Sport.
Sicily just dropped off him there coming into that contest because it looked like it was going to be best in front of him. And 4 or 5 players went up without touching the ball, without there being an impact, and you're right, just landed in Jamara Ugelhagen's lap. Sicily had to stay with him. Look, if nothing else, it looks like we're going to get a free, relatively free-flowing, high-scoring game today. That's the game that Western Bulldogs like to play. If it's going to be on their terms, then hopefully we get reasonable score, plenty of goals kicked.
Hawthorn fans will be hoping for that as well. They are they're ranked 18 for points for, would you believe? They've actually scored on average fewer points per game than North Melbourne, but as Sorley said, a little more free-flowing today under the roof for Dockland. Some clean footy. McKenzie out of the middle. Kick smothered by Liberatore to 1%. Wins it. Hand pass to McRae, to Treloar, back to Libba. Sends it inside 50. Jamara the target. Sicily flies and spoils. Loose ball. Garcia with the foot skills. Soccers it goalward, but puts it out of bounds. And again, there's more feeling in it as Sicily still scrapping on and Frost involved.
And the shoulder's out, is it? Sicily's shoulders out.
Yeah, I reckon it might be. Yeah, it looks like it is.
Oh, it is too.
That was a big hit, though. When you have a look at that, I'd like to see that replay again. That was a massive, massive hit by the pack over the top of...
Yeah, the awkward landing for Sicily. He's with the trainer, starting to make his way towards the bench. We'll get down to Rory in just a moment. Meanwhile, the ball spun back in. Meek wins it down, then receives a hand pass back. Hand pass away to Warple. He gives it to Scrimshaw, kicks off the back flank, and here's Kalshadir, who marks against the boundary line City side. The Bulldogs by 10 points, 23 gone opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
If that's the first time it's come out, let me tell you from experience, that is, it hurts like hell, and you can't wait to get it back in. The pain virtually goes.
Rory Campbell as James Sicily comes past you.
Yeah, guys, he couldn't even make it off the field before he had to stop. He was in that much pain. He's just gone down straight to the rooms. It's pretty clear that shoulder's dislocated. He's in a lot of pain. They'll be working on him down there to hopefully get him in as good a condition as possible, but in a lot of pain right now.
Free kick went the way of Liam Jones for the Dogs at half-back. Through the defensive 50 to Johannesson, to Harms. Miss Bramble. Bounces into Connor Nash. Moore tries to slap it forward for the Hawks, but Bramble's onto it. Tackle by Ginnivan. Brought to the turf. A couple of Hawks helping to lay the tackle. And the umpire will board up to the left of the centre circles. The Bulldogs by 10 points. 4 straight 24 to Hawthorn 2-2-14. 23 minutes gone in the opening quarter on ABC Sport. Harms from the stoppage. Kicks the Dogs up to half forward. Impey was the loose. He dropped the chest mark. Opened the door for Garcia. Hand pass to Treloar. Hacks the kick towards full forward. And working his way in front, Weddle takes the mark in front of Jamara Ugelhagen. With that famous number 23 on his back. Kicks out to the wing. Dylan Moore tries to gather. Has to break the Treloar tackle. Gets the hand pass to Ginnivan in his 50th game. Hand passes boundary side. Day's able to break through the tackle. Chips it back to Ginnivan, who marks centre wing.
Ginnivan has tried to lift it over the man on the mark, couldn't clear him. In the end, it's chopped off by O'Donnell. Ginnivan tackles him and a ball up on the City wing. Gee, it's been an eventful 50 games for Jack Ginnivan. A premiership, of course, included in that time. Playing the first 42 with Collingwood and a new 3-year deal with the Hawks over the summer.
So Hardwick's trying to get him behind the ball, but his man is going with him. Well, it's good play by the Dogs.
Libba from the stoppage, hand pass to Gallagher. Goes on a bit of a run, hand pass out wide to Treloar, sends it inside 50 for the Bulldogs, shallow entry, hand on it from Jamara, can't mark. Weddle does very well, traps it, almost dribbles it to himself like a basketball. Hand pass to Hardwick, handball to Impey, short kick, finds Warple, still half back for Hawthorn.
Hand pass to the runner, Weddle takes a bounce as he runs the outer side, around Tim English, catch me if you can. He tries to kick long towards Gunston, wrestling with Jones. Jones couldn't hold front position, it spills out, a chance for Day, he crashes through, trying to knock it out. Deer comes over the top, and the umpire will ball it up with O'Donnell, the player on the very bottom of the bat, holding it together for the Bulldogs inside the defensive 50. Bulldogs by 10 points, thrown in the air. Meek tries to take it out of the ruck. He's tackled, dispossessed. It spills the way of Liberatore. Hand pass to English and now to McRae. Inboard he finds Bramble. Releases Johannesson. He takes the bounce as he runs through the middle of centre half back for the Dogs. Out towards the youngster. It's spoiled away in the end by Charlie Clark, and a chance for the Hawks as they work the ball, the Bulldogs up towards Darcy, who takes the mark at half forward from Harms.
Darcy can send them deep inside 50. Buku Kamas is down there. Norton stands in front of him, spills the mark, falls through to Hardwick, back in defence, and short kick finds Frost. Oh, Frost, that is not good. Trying to chip it short to Connor McDonald. Turns it over cold, and he's going to be made pay by Bailey Williams. He hits the post. Williams on the run from left half forward, and Sam Frost exhales. That wasn't his finest moment. 4-1 to 2-2. An 11-point lead for the Bulldogs deep into time on opening quarter.
He's had a couple of those moments, Sam Frost, as Carl Amon kicks up towards Will Day. Great to see him back out there for the Hawks. He plays on, looks up towards Dylan Moore at half forward. He takes the mark on his chest. Johannesson tries to hold him up, swings on his right, long towards Deer in the goal square. And the debutant has it. He's only about 5 metres out, but he'll be lined up against the left behind post and will just have to work his way through the angles.
Well, very, very poor play by the Dogs. It was 1v2 and they both looked at each other. Neither went to him. I don't know what they're expecting. So this is great play by the Hawks, but question mark on the Dogs' defence.
Kalshadir steps out in his first game, snaps on his right boot and kicks his opening goal. The son of 1991 Norm Smith medalist Paul Deere, who died of pancreatic cancer in 2022. His mum made the mad dash from London, arriving at 5:30 this morning for this afternoon's match. And there'll be plenty of emotion as the Hawks players come from near and far to celebrate with him. The 18-year-old, 195 centimetres, picked 56 back in 2013. And all of a sudden, the Hawks are back within 5 points. The Bulldogs 4-1-25 to Hawthorn 3-2-20.
Works well for Sully.
Yeah, a couple of his aerial contests have been really strong as he goes, or he has been in the rucket stages as well. He's undersized there, but he hasn't looked out of place in those marking contests and cleverly just got in behind the Bulldogs defenders, which, yeah, Mick, as you said, very lazy on their behalf, but fantastic to see. First game, kick a goal. Means a lot to him. 18
years of age, youngest man on the ground. I think it's fair to say first Kalsher to play VFL AFL footy, Calsher. What a moment in this opening quarter. And the Hawks back within 5 as Williams has it at half back, but he's running in reverse. Hand pass dangerous at turnover. Newcomb for the Hawks, gives it to McGuinness, kicks to Gunston, who takes the mark at right half forward against the boundary line.
Great pressure by Newcomb just to continue forcing Bulldogs back into their defence.
Only Williams, though.
Yeah.
Just kick the ball.
The Bulldogs kicked 3 goals in 6 minutes. Completely jumped Hawthorn out the gates, and from that point on, it's been Hawthorn's match. The only goal the Dogs have kicked has been against the trend. Gunston wide out at right half forward. This would be one of his very best to the goal line. Can't get it there. Sharks by Ward, who slams it through, and we got a lead change. The Hawks have come all the way back, and they're in front. On the stroke of quarter time, Josh Ward on his return goals. Hawthorn 4-2-26. The Bulldogs 4-1-25. So much for that fast start. That early lead is long gone. Brad Saul, Mick Moldhouse, Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. The Hawks by 1.
It was a great finish by Ward, but as Ginnivan turned around to point at Lloyd Meek as soon as that ball went through, because it was Meek that went back with the fly of the ball, and it was Lloyd Meek that deliberately punched the ball back.
Brilliant.
Away from goal, knowing that Ward was there. So really clever connection by Hawthorn deep in their forward half. Poor defensively by the Western Bulldogs. That ball should have gone over. It's actually a poor kick by Gunston, kick that close to the goal line.
Well done by Meek, though. Wasn't it?
Clever.
Smart play for a rucker.
Mick Moldhouse and Brad Saul with you on ABC Sport. The Hawks have only led at quarter time on one occasion this season, and that was against North Melbourne a few weeks ago. Have another stoppage in the middle of the ground with Lloyd Meek over the top of the footy. As Corby mentioned, the Bulldogs kicked the first 3 goals of the match in the first 6 minutes. 3 of the last 4 have gone the way of the Hawks. All of a sudden they're inspired. Liberatore trying to fight back for the Dogs. Kicks up towards half forward. Garcia Gale is trying to break the hardwood tackle. Hand pass to Norton. Newcomb charging through. One way then the other. Gets the hand pass to McGuinness. They're starting to win more 50-50 balls. Hand pass to Hardwick. Kicks up towards Ginnivan. Wrestling. It spills out. A chance for the Bulldogs through to Ray. Hard against the boundary. Falls over on all fours. Hand pass back to Karmas. Links up with Day. Steps around Deere. Kicks around the broadcast wing. Garcia shoved out of it by Amon. Carl Amon tries to get a hand pass forward to Ward. Hand passes into the middle of the ground for Newcomb. He works it over the top to Day. Bontempelli coming the other way. He rides the tackle. Gets the hand pass to McKenzie. Works it over the top to McGuinness.
McGuinness didn't see Giray coming off the interchange. Caught. Got a hand pass away. Impey heavy tackle. Front on. Locks up Garcia. Ump says I'll have it. Good footy on the broadcast wing. Hawthorn by 1.
Well done by the Bulldogs to keep it in. It looked like Hawks were going to get out on a number of occasions, but great pressure just to keep it in tight.
Meek palms it down. Loose footy collected by Williams. There's a free kick coming back. Treloar was clipped high and all of that. We'll get it on the wing for the Bulldogs. Mention their starts. Clenchy outscored on average by 3 goals in the opening quarter, Hawthorn. So not just trailing at quarter time, but often well behind in games, and it threatened to be that way early. The Hawks have worked their way back in quarter. As Treloar down to half forward, whacked away to McGuinness. He sends it back down to halfway. Day climbs up over Treloar. Puts his fist through it, but straight down to Williams of the Bulldogs. Sweeping hand pass to McRae. Inside to Dale. The All-Australian heads across the ground with his kick. Out towards Johannesson, who's got the cornrows in again today. Mark's Logo City side.
He looks up inside the 50. Darcy's outnumbered 3-on-1. Weddle couldn't hang on to the mark. Spills the way of Hardwick at the Hawks. Links up with D'Ambrosio to Morrison. Back to D'Ambrosio at halfback. Kicks around the wing. Bramble was in front position. Couldn't hang on to the mark. Dale tries to clean it up for the Dogs. Works it back to Jones. Looks up towards half forward. Darcy tries to get rid of Amon sitting in front. Weddle makes the spoil and Morrison runs out of tarmac. Taken over the boundary line and the throw in. At right half forward for the Bulldogs. They're 4-1-25 to Hawthorn 4-2-26. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Guys, as soon as James Sicily came off, Nick Watson started to move around, but he's just moved to the back of the bench. I'm not sure if they're holding out hope that Sicily might come back on. I'll keep you posted.
Suspected dislocated shoulder for Sicily earlier in the quarter. Thanks, Rory, as Treloar had pass to the Bont. Kicks deep to Norton. Got away from Frost and takes the sprawling mark just outside the goal square for the Bulldogs.
Terrific play by the Bulldogs just to find the space out of the back of that stoppage. And when Bontempelli on his left leg so penetrating, as we hear the siren to finish this first quarter, Norton cleverly running back into the space, finding body and coming back to take that easy chest mark in the end.
So Aaron Norton, he should really knock this through. 15 metres out, slight angle with the last kick of the quarter, pops it through for the Dogs. Aaron Norton with his first of the day, and the lead swings again after the quarter-time siren. The Bulldogs back on top, 5-1-31. A lot of that heavy down payment done in the first 6 minutes when they kicked 3 goals before the Hawks could blink. And Hawthorn, who fought on valiantly in that opening term, 4-2-26. They did lead until that kick moments ago. So 2 lead changes with the last 2 goals in the quarter. Throw it all together. The Bulldogs 5-1-31, Hawthorn 4-2-26. The goal kickers in the game so far, we got 1 for Bontempelli, 1 for Ugle-Hagan, 1 for Vandermeer, Norton and English. Meanwhile for Hawthorn, 1 for Meek, Gunston, Josh Ward and Kelsha Deer on debut, the son of the late Paul Deer. Quarter time in the second game of 3 on the Sunday slate in round 8. Earlier, it was Fremantle by 9 goals over Richmond. And at quarter time here, it is the Western Bulldogs who lead it by 5. It's the Dogs' best first quarter against the Hawks going back since 2009. So that's some 14 years since they were able to pop through 5 goals against the might of your team, Sawley. The thoughts of Brad Saul and Mick Malthouse coming up next. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Hi there, Lisa Miller here. Isn't it great to get outside for a breath of fresh air? It's one of life's simple pleasures, right? Well, I can help you to keep something else simple too. Finding news you can trust. You can stay in the know with ABC News. Download the app and receive alerts to your phone. Visit the ABC News website. And for stories straight to your inbox, subscribe to one of our newsletters. It's all the latest, all verified, all the time. Stay in the know with ABC News.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
It's the Dogs and the Hawks on ABC Sport.
Gallagher out of position, spoiled away by Impey. Norton Rose, half pass to Vandermeer, steams towards goal and kicks the opening of the match. The perfect start for the Western Bulldogs inside 20 seconds.
Treloar hand pass to Dale, kicks towards English, who drifted forward as Tim English makes it 2 in a minute. Oh boy, the Dogs setting a brisk early pace.
Nick wins down the tap, but Liberatore's over it once more. Hand pass to his teammate Bontempelli, who swings on the left from the edge of the centre square, goes for home and gets there. The Bonts on the board for the Bulldogs. Thrown back in, the Hawks in attack. Meek tries to flick it over the back. Nash's hand pass to Gunston. Nice sidestep. The veteran swings it over his shoulder and puts through there first. And boy, did they need that just to stem the avalanche at the other end. Ward swings onto his left-hand side, drives it in the direction of Meek. He'll fly against 3. He got hands to it, couldn't hang on, but there was a hold. Was shepherded in the marking contest in the eyes of the umpire. Just the 9 goals throughout his career, but Lloyd Meek comes in and finishes with class.
Sicily's shoulders out.
Yeah, I reckon it might be. Yeah, it looks like it is.
Oh, it is too.
That was a big hit, though. Massive hit.
Yeah, guys, he couldn't even make it off the field before he had to stop. He was in that much pain. He's just gone down straight to the rooms. It's pretty clear that shoulder's dislocated. He's in a lot of pain.
Dylan Moore at half forward. He takes the mark on his chest. Johannesson tries to hold him up. Swings on his right. Long towards Deere in the goal square. And the debutant has it. Kalshadir steps out in his first game, snaps on his right boot and kicks his opening goal. The son of 1991 Norm Smith medalist Paul Deere, who died of pancreatic cancer in 2022. There'll be plenty of emotion as the Hawks players come from near and far to celebrate with him.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
0437 774 774, the SMS number. It is Sunday footy on ABC Sport. The sounds there from that opening term. The Western Bulldogs by 5 points at quarter time. 5-1-31 over the Hawks, 4-2-26. You heard in the highlights a shoulder concern for James Sicily came off. It looks like it's dislocated. You could see it really pop out outside his short-sleeve jumper as he made his way off in a lot of pain. We'll get a further update from Rory Campbell shortly. Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch in commentary, but the thoughts of our analyst, the two-time Premiership Hawk and the coaching icon Mick First of all, two-time Premiership Hawk Brad Sewell and the coaching icon Mick Malthouse.
And Corby, you got it out. Entertaining first quarter, Mick. We had concerns initially the first 5 minutes. Saw 3 quick goals without a Hawthorn possession to the Western Bulldogs, but it levelled out. And attributing to both sides, I think Hawthorn's pressure and their game was brought up to a level once they could actually get their hands on the ball. They put a player behind the ball, which meant the Bulldogs couldn't move the ball in a straight line as we know they like to, and it took them a little while to adjust. And Mick, you recognised that in doing so, they didn't allow Hardwick go back on his own. Western Bulldogs manned him up, and that I think was another turning point early in that or later in that first quarter to see things even up.
Well, that's it, because one of the things about these days is, as a coach, you're virtually sitting on your hands for centre bounces because you've got 6-6-6, but you can rearrange your wingers where they start, and I think that's got to also be taken into consideration. And the other thing is, as soon as the game starts, you run a forward down. Well, Hardwick went down there. They got away with it, and they changed the course of the game, as you said. So this is a really good quality game. There's some great tackling. There's some Meek's tap back was just extraordinarily good. Norton's final goal was very good. So it's a very, very good game of footy.
We'll get down to Rory in just a moment. Good news for the Hawks with James Sicily back on the ground. The Bulldogs by 5 points as we start the second term. One down by English straight to Liberatore. He's tackled at a ball up. Rory Campbell on the boundary. Rory. Yeah,
just before the teams went into the huddle at quarter time, James Sicily emerged from the change rooms with that shoulder strapped. He headed straight out to the huddle, took part. He's out there on the field now. Got a bit of a bro hug, a soft bro hug from Sam Mitchell at quarter time and a smile. And yeah, he's continuing on.
Good news for the Hawks. We'll see how he looks. He's got that right shoulder heavily strapped, as Rory mentioned, as Weddle can send Hawthorn inside 50 here early in the last. Deere flies at it. No mark, spills out the back. Bramble wants the boundary line, finds it. And it's out of play, 40 out from the Hawks goal. Hawthorn kicking to the Lockett end in the second term, which I noticed the locals around here, the Western Bulldogs home game, they call it the Footscray end.
Yeah,
kind of. It's sort of north of the city, if anything, more so than west. If anything, we're on the Footscray side, wouldn't we be on the?
I would have thought so. Yeah, Dougie Horton's wing, maybe.
Yes.
Doing better than me. Those signs were taken down about 3 or 4 years ago. I can't remember them. It goes out of play and a boundary throw in. A cheerio to Dougie Hawkins, who turned 63 today. The Bulldogs legends.
And he's a legend. He is one of the best players I've ever coached.
One of your favourites?
One of my favourites, yes, indeed. Great bloke, Doug.
He'd love to see the Bulldogs firing in September once more. Thrown back in. Meek wins down the tap for the Hawks to Nash. Newcombe runs into a dead end. He's locked up by Richards. And the umpire says holding the ball. Didn't have a lot of prior opportunity, but the umpire says the tackle needs to be rewarded. And Ted Richards will take the free kick out right half back. Western Bulldogs leading by 5 points. The Bulldogs dominated the clearances in that opening quarter. 14-8. They managed to kick 4 goals from those 14 clearances. The Hawks are able to finish the term in a flurry. Liberatore swings it out to left half back. Dale decided to play on, then had to try and cut around the challenge of Deere. Works it up the wing and Tim English takes the mark. Centre wing on the outer side. He ignores all the short options and decides now eventually to turn boundary side and chip it to Buku Karmas. He can go wider still, and Bailey Dale eventually gets the footy, but it's not really moving it with a great deal of intent. Dale between wing and half forward, looks up inside 50. Hugo Harkins the target. It's over his head. Norton palms it down. A chance still for the Dogs. Charging forward, Harms. Can't get a disposal away. Knocked out by Liberatore. Bontempelli had it for a moment. Treloar spins out of traffic. Hand pass to Johannesson. He's tackled by Ward. And now Lloyd Meek. And the umpire says no prior on this occasion. We'll ball it up. 45 metres out from the Western Bulldogs goal.
Thoughts on the cornrows, Sawley, of Jason Johannesson?
If I could, I would.
Bontempelli fights through traffic, hand pass out to English, knocks it away to Richards.
Oh, that's a
who's
late
call. And then Newcomb gives him a shove afterwards. There's a bit of feeling in it. Ed Richards is going to get the kick here, centre half forward.
It's not much in that.
Well, I want to know which umpire called that, because I'm watching two umpires that are in the 50. Neither of them call that, so it must have been umpire 19 here right in front. And look, if he thinks it's a free kick, I think that's it's a good call that you can call those. That's why the umpire's been invited. But you've got to be so careful. You've got to make sure there is a free kick.
Richards milked it beautifully.
Ed Richards, more midfield minutes in recent weeks. Can he become a goal kicker too? Not right now, at least. Puts that out on the full. Missed the whole set. 40 out straight in front. 3.5 gone second term. It is the Bulldogs by 5 points. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Your thoughts on the SMS? 0437 774 774. Got one here, Clinchy, from Tony in Fitzroy, who says, did North and St Kilda enter in 1925 as well, along with these two teams? North did. St Kilda, though, were one of the original 8 way back to 1897.
Is that right?
James Sicily, the Hawthorn captain, out of defence. Bontempelli couldn't hang on to the mark. Warple gets a hand pass forward to Ginnivan. Links up with Finn McGuinness. Looks up towards half forward. Gunson's on a long lead. He's got 5 metres on Liam Jones. He looks up. Dylan Moore darts into the pocket. Gunson looking for the options. Decides to go short to Moore. On the bounce he gathers. Cuts past Gallagher. Hand pass never got to Warple. Treloar under pressure. Tries to knock it forward. Still a chance for Moore. He gathers a loose footy for Hawthorn. Hand pass to Newcomb from 50. Winds up. Ward's on the line. He lets it go through. And it bounces through. It was a late challenge from Bailey Dale, who almost got a hand to it. But Giant Newcomb with the goal to put Hawthorn in front in the second quarter. The first goal of the second term through 4.5 minutes. The Hawks 5-2-32 to the Bulldogs 5-1-31.
If you go to the bench, I just want to see, is that young Darcy coming off injured?
O'Donnell,
is it?
and Darcy,
Yeah, good.
I think it's O'Donnell.
O'Donnell sits next to Darcy. It looks like O'Donnell's the one getting some attention. We'll check in with Rory in just a minute.
Well worked by Hawthorn to slowly take it forward. Gunston, although missing the kick, Newcomb finding space at the top of the arc, and probably a little bit lucky to get the goal there. It should have been touched on the line by Dale, who couldn't quite get back in time.
Third lead change of the match. And the lead swinging on the last 3 goals in the game, either side of quarter time. Early in the second term, Dace locked up in a heavy tackle. Guess who's got him? It's Tom Liberatore with his shaved bonds underneath all of that, doing the dirty work for the Bulldogs. Umpire throws it in the air again. Meek palms it down. Warple, hurried kick forward. Hawthorn into attack again. Karmas jumps back in the hole, takes the intercept mark, and lays a hand pass off, which releases Bramble. Kicks down the wing. Leith Vandermeer, the target. Scrimshaw arrives late and spoils it out of play. Boundary throwing in front of the interchange gates and in front of Rory Campbell.
You guys, James O'Donnell's made his way down to the rooms. It was a little hard to get a gauge on exactly what the issue was. There's some attention paid to look like a leg-related issue, but he's down in the rooms getting checked out now.
Yeah, it's definitely a leg. As he was running off, he had a little limp up.
Thanks, Rory. Hawthorn by a point as it's thrown back into play. English with a shove in the back against Lloyd Meek, and the umpire says he can't get away with that. Meek kicked a goal in the opening quarter. Takes the free kick centre wing on the broadcast side. Decides to go short to Amon. He marks between wing and half forward. The Bulldogs have pushed numbers back into the defensive half. Bailey Dale is patrolling. As the loose in defence, kicks up towards Ginnivan. In from the side, Liam Jones couldn't complete the mark. Hardwick tries to keep it alive. Hand pass to Newcomb, to Morrison. On the boundary line with a 50 metres. Centering ball, good vision. As he spots up Colin McDonald, who marks with the arms outstretched. And there's little Marcus Bontempelli could do. A chance for the Hawks to try and extend their lead on a 45-degree angle. He'll kick from 35 metres out.
Well, great stuff by Hawthorn. They kept the ball alive. It could have been easy to say, oh, we'll have a stoppage here inside our front 50. By keeping it alive and a wandering around back line, then to find a takeover, that's very, very impressive.
6 of the last 8 goals the way of the Hawks as Connor McDonald comes in and slams it out to the right off balance. It misses everything. Out of bounds on the full. And no change to the score. Hawthorn by a point. Free kick going the way of the Bulldogs, and Bailey Dale is going to take it.
It's too bad. This is one at either end, isn't it?
Genuine shank.
Really, yeah. But it's 6.6 by 3. So you look at 19 metres. Can't hit a 19 metre from, 35 metres out.
Dale goes short to Johannesson, the club's only Normsford medalist. Gives it back to Dale. Short kick to Gallagher. That's a good kick. Back to the corridor. Finds Liberatore. Opens up the ground for the Bulldogs. As Liver looks out towards that City wing. Long kick, a bit of hang time in it. Looking for Clark. One-on-one with Scrimshaw. Clark trying to soccer it forward. Lost his footing. Picked up by Scrimshaw and the Hawks rebound. Short kick finds Newcomb.
All these 50-50s going the way of Hawthorn at the moment. Momentum's in their favour. They need to make the most of the scoreboard.
And the famous number 3, short kick to Impey. Defensive side of the wing. Sunday footy on ABC Sports. Sends it down to Gunston. Climbs up over the top of Karmas. No mark. Ball hits the deck. Gunston wins it just outside the 50. Hand pass to Deer. Hurried handball inside the attacking arc. Dale knocks it away. Karmas will clean it up. The Bulldogs off half back. Hand pass to McRae. Tumbles a kick out to Williams.
And he gets the hand pass over the top to Garcia. Works it around the outer side, and Clark takes the mark. On to Boo, turns and comes inboard. It's on the bounce for Jack McRae. He makes it work. Back to Clark as he runs the outer side. Feigns the hand pass and dribbles another kick up towards half forward. Sicily gathers in front of Norton. Hand pass away to Carl Lehmann and then points in the direction around the outer wing. Hand pass to Scrimshaw. Spins out of traffic. Good kick to Meek. He marks centre wing. The Hawthorn ruckman looks up to Ward at half forward. He's uncontested. He takes the mark in front of Gallagher. He's got Connor McDonald all on his own. Just had to find him. And he's left of centre, 45 metres out from goal. And having shanked his last set shot, a chance to go back and redeem himself. All of a sudden, Hawthorn have swung the momentum in this match and playing with real intent. Sicily was floating around the back. McDonald decides, no, I've got this set shot. In the fluorescent yellow boots. Starts his approach. The third-year Hawk skips out to the right, looking to extend Hawthorn's lead. It's a beautiful kick off the boot, and through it goes. 6 of the last 8 goals going the way of the Hawks after they were jumped in the opening 5 minutes of the match. And Hawthorn lead by 7 points, 6-2-38 to the Bulldogs, 5-1-31. 9 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sports. 6 premierships across the back row with Brad Saul and Mick Malthouse.
So, Mick, besides the first 3 goals in 5 minutes, the game's been dominated by Hawthorn.
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely been dominated. And so if I can just add, and there's outside of the aggression by Hawthorn, the Dogs are bringing themselves undone by overusing the hand pass, and then when they get to almost the middle of the ground, they slow up. And yet they've got a pretty good forward line. Like we saw English before take a mark near the wing. It just stopped. If he had got going. But the aggression of the Hawthorn, the contested football was easily won by Hawthorn in that first quarter, and I reckon they're 6-4 now. So they're really dominating the aggression at the ground level.
Hawks by 7 points. They get back-to-back goals here to start the second quarter. Hurried kick forward from Bontempelli, but it's a turnover. Amon takes the intercept mark. Centre half back, looks for Newcomb. Marks in the centre square, knocked out of his hands by Darcy. They all looked at the umpire. Darcy puts his head in his hands. He can't believe it, but he's going to be marched downfield. As well, the man with the Sharon in John Newcomb, and the Hawks will have a look here from about 30 out straight in front.
There's been a nickel between these two sides, isn't there? Yeah. Darcy's a little bit unlucky here. I don't think he deliberately went to...
No, there's got to be a reason for a penalty such as 50 metres, and that was his arm was already there, so that's not a deliberate hold-up. Well, I think that's a very poor decision.
Fast start for the Bulldogs. They kicked 3 goals in the first 6 minutes, but from that point on, it's been Hawthorn's game. They miss here off the boot of John Newcomb. Should have jammed that through from 30 out straight in front of behind. Hawks by 8 points. But alarm bells ringing in Luke Beveridge's coach's box. 6-3 to 5-1. The Hawks by 8 points. Complete turnaround 12 minutes into the second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clinch, Rory Campbell on the boundary, Mick Moldhouse, Brad Sewell.
Johannesson into Lockie Bramble. The former Hawk plays on in the right back pocket. Looks up towards Ugle-Hagan. He flies in from the side and takes the mark in front of Weddle. Now hang on. Free kick going the Hawks' way. You're going to have to help me as to what that was for.
Well, Sicily pushed off the ball, was he?
Yeah, pushed off the ball, but I'm not sure. I don't know which umpire again saw that, because certainly the controlling umpire didn't.
Sicily short to Weddle inside 50, and Gunston reaches over the top and takes the mark. It's all starting to go Hawthorn's way as he marks in the left forward pocket. He's only around 25 metres out from goal, just has to deal with a tight angle. Gunston has one already this afternoon. The 15-year Hawk swings out onto his right-hand side and just overworks it, curling it to the near side. And a minor score. The Hawks are leaving a few out there. They lead by 9 points. The last 2 scores of the match have been behind. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Hey guys, James O'Donnell is back on the ground. He's got the right quad heavily strapped, and he's got a bit of padding on the sort of inner front part of the thigh. So I'd say we're dealing with a bit of a corky. He spun the legs over on the bike and he's doing a few run-throughs now, but looks like he's going to come back on the ground.
Thanks, Rory. Gunston up to 3 goals, 9 for the season. So been rather wayward up front as Dale kicks long to the wing. Norton trying to keep it in front of him, overruns it. Weddle for Hawthorn. Hand pass to D'Ambrosio. Handball releases Newcomb. Here they go again through the middle of Docklands. Handball to Frost. He can kick inside 50. Near the target. Karmas breaks it up. Good spoil. Follows up for the Dogs. Hand pass to Johannesson. Gives it to Harms up the back flank. He kicks long to Vandermeer on the wing. Mark won't be paid. Morrison knocks it out of his hands, wins it back to Hawthorn. Hand pass to D'Ambrosio.
Kicks up towards Deere, who's caught behind, and Liam Jones hugs it to his shoulder. And the reliable Bulldogs defender marks it right half back. The Dogs trail by 9 points as he comes inboard to Karmas. Day made the spoil late, no 50.
I just don't understand why that kick is necessary to go back from, say, 70 out to bring it back to 45 out, and now Hawthorn have set up. Now that one goes still 45. They're still 45 metres away from Hawthorn's goal.
They are inviting the pressure, the Dogs, as Dale's kick got the fingertips of Richards, couldn't hang on. Newcomb's onto it, draws an opponent. Hand pass to Dylan Moore on the run from 45. Kicks to Gunston at the top of the goal square. And surely this one will make it a little bit easier for Jack Gunston. As Corby may mention, he's had his issues in front of goal with 3 goals, 9 for the season. Spoke with Keisha Deere in the lead-up to making his debut. Both have lost their dad. He'd want to play well, and Gunston comes in and puts through his second. And the Hawks are out to their biggest lead of the match. It's a 15-point ball game. 7-4-46 to the Bulldogs, 5-1-31. I need to give a shout-out to my panellist on AFL Sunday, Cameron Ling, who said, I hope we don't see the mediocre Dogs this afternoon. Well, the Hawks are taking it well and truly up to them this afternoon.
Well, they're mediocre, all right, because outside that first 3 minutes, the Hawks' aggression, if I just say about the contested football, is it 5-10? Am I reading that right? 5-10 this quarter?
Yep.
5-10, well and truly in front in the first quarter. If you're going to get back in a game like this, there's 2 things you've got to do, is win the contested football, and 2 is run the ball into a line that's full of fairly good forwards, but they're not getting the ball inside 50. So conversely, Hawthorn are just winning the hard footy and capitalising. Just a mile in front of what the Dogs are looking like.
Mick Moldhouse alongside Brad Sewell, Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch, Rory Campbell on the boundary. The Hawks by 15 points, having conceded 3 goals in the first 6 minutes to start the game. The Dogs led by 18 early. Meek fighting through the tackle. The hand pass out, and then the Hawks on into the flash as they run out there to lay a quick tackle on the Bulldog and Bailey Williams, rather. A heap of Baileys out there, Bailey Dale and obviously Bailey Smith not playing today. From the restart, Edwards, hand pass forward, picked off. Amon kicks it back the other way for Hawthorn, redirected towards Ginnivan, tackled by Harms. Umpire says ball up, centre half forward for the Hawks.
So I'm wondering whether that aggression has really worried the Dogs. Hawthorn's aggression to the footy is first class.
Meek slaps it back inboard. McKenzie flying through. Got a hand pass out off his backside to Warple. Handball to D'Ambrosio. Looks goalward. He's offline. He's kicked it out on the full. So a couple already this quarter looking for goal. And missing the whole set. 15-point lead for Hawthorn. Complete turnaround of the game after the first 6 minutes. We've now travelled 17 into the second. Hawks by 15 points. They've kicked 7 of the last 9 goals.
Liam Jones plays on for the Dogs, kicks up towards Ugelhagen at half-back. Frost makes the spoil, spills out towards the back. D'Ambrosio's hand pass to Day, swings on his right, kick smothered. And it ricochets out to McKenzie of the Hawks. Hand pass to Sicily, screws it over his shoulder. D'Ambrosio dropped the mark, brambles onto it for the Hawks. Hacks the kick up towards Ugelhagen at half-back. He can't hang on to it. D'Ambrosio inboard, miss Nash. Johannesson knocks it onto Harms. The Bulldogs charging at half-back. Hand pass to Richards, takes a bounce. He only has Darcy inside 50, cutting across the middle of Docklands. He's onto the outer side now for Williams, who kicks over the head of Johannesson. And Sicily takes the intercepting mark for the Hawks. The Dogs are burning themselves with their possession inside the forward 50. And he kicks it wider to Moore. And the Hawks through now Connor Nash.
Nash chips it down the line, and Impey's got the footy against the boundary line, City side. He's going to come back to Sicily. Looked like he dislocated his shoulder in that opening quarter. You could see it sort of popped out alongside his jumper. He went off the ground in a lot of pain, but's had it restrapped and returned. Dangerous kick across the half-back line from the skipper. Frost and Darcy. Darcy wins it, tackled by Frost. Got a hand pass away. Hawks with the numbers to clean it up. Weddle goes on a jinking run, steps inside it, burns off Vandermeer, kicks the Hawks up to halfway. Harms courageous. The Elephants coming behind him, able to stand in front of the pack and take the mark.
This lateral kick here has done nothing for the Dogs. Going forward has.
Hagen's on his own in the forward 50. Yeah,
exactly.
Harms across the ground to Richards, and now out wide to Dale. He marks on the wing. Just rolls immediately. Looks inside the forward arc. Ugelhagen the target. Climbing over the top. Leaping up was Amon in all of that. In the end, he didn't end up with the footy. Ball comes down. Warple. Hand pass to Nash. He's under pressure. Pack forms centre half forward for the Dogs. Umpire's going to let them roll for the time being. Meek got it out. Hand pass to Moore. Oh, handball to Sicily. He's clipped high shortly in all of that. Says yes. Free kick going Hawthorn's way, and Sicily will get it on the back flank. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. The Hawks by 15. 19 travelled in the second quarter.
4 to 11 inside 50s, and that tells you about the game. Hawks are they're going straight. Dogs are going wide and trying to set it up, but just their forwards have been sucked right up the ground to protect the corridor, and runners from the back line from the Dogs just have not found targets forward of the football. And it's a credit to Hawthorn's pressure, where the Dogs forwards think they have to come up to protect.
The voice of Mick Malthouse, the AFL Games coaching record, as the Hawks work it across half-back. Weddle takes the mark, looks up to the wing. Morrison is free. They've worked this well, Hawthorn. He has an option over the top. He can poke it to McDonald. He's at left half forward. Hardwick leads into the pocket just a little too early. So Connor McDonald swings onto his right. Long towards Day, who sets himself for the fly. Can't come down with the footy. Richards gathers. Hand pass to Bramble. Shoved away Moore. And Moore lays the tackle. Surely that's holding the ball. Just couldn't get boot to ball, Lockie Bramble. And Dylan Moore hard against the boundary. About 30 metres out. Will shoot on a tough angle in the left forward pocket. They are playing inspired footy, the Hawks, at the moment.
The pressure's fantastic. There's no time and space there for the Bulldogs at the moment.
12 goals for the season, leading the way. He comes out, curls it around the corner. Just can't clear English on the goal line. And it's rushed through by Ed Richards, doing what good ruckman should be, standing up against the behind post. On this occasion, he knocked it into play rather than over the line. Hawks by 16 points.
Dogs have not scored this quarter. It's absolutely
that's correct.
Remarkable. It's a remarkable result.
The Hawks have gone 3-3, and we've travelled 21 minutes. Long kick down the middle from Dale, but it's turned over.
The game's been controlled by Hawthorn. It's been played in their half.
Yeah.
Entire second quarter.
Well, the forward line structure of the Dogs has let them down because they're going. I was going to say too aggressive. They're coming too far outside of 50. You've got no target to speak about. They're getting sucked up to play, and then on the turnovers, because they're so slow in bringing the ball in, Hawthorn are able to run the ball out highly successfully. This is the first time they've actually been held up across that half forward line.
Scrimshaw McGuinness to Sicily, short kick to Impey, and as Mick said, slow play into the back half, short to McGuinness again, who's against the boundary line. City side goes long down the line. The only ruckman there is English, takes the intercept mark. New deal for Jamari Ugelhagen, so I'm sure a lot of the focus will turn to English and Bailey Smith, the other two off contract with the Dogs. English retreats to Harms. Short kick to JJ, and Johannesson into the centre square for Duray. He's going to come out wide to Bramble on the broadcast wing.
So the Dogs have worked it around the horseshoe and kicks up towards half forward. Ugelhagen caught behind against two. Sicily couldn't take the mark. Carl Amon might have given away the free kick, a hold. And it's going to be a Hawthorn free kick. It's going to go the way of Jarman Impey. A hold against Jamara Ugelhagen after the hand pass had gone away.
Just a wasted football. It was just a kick and hope. The Dogs have got to, I know they've only got a few minutes left of this quarter, but they've got to settle down and really start to work out how they're going to take that ball forward, because at the moment, Hawthorn are picking them off every time.
Impey short to D'Ambrosio, who drives a long kick around the wing. Flying in the back, Hardwick. He's outnumbered and outsized, and Liam Jones takes the mark for the Dogs. Turns and comes inboard. The centre half back, and Bailey Dale takes the mark. This is the Dogs' blueprint. Into the middle of the ground for Richards. It opens up in front of him. Looks out to Norton. Can he find him? He can. In the left forward pocket. He looks into the corridor, can go short to Ugelhagen. He's got a metre on Sicily, and that's enough. It's a tighter angle, though. He's 30 metres out, jammed in the left forward pocket, and the responsibility now from Aaron Norton to Jamara Ugelhagen, who has one already.
And that was the Bulldogs' blueprint in terms of ball movement, wasn't it? Through the flanks, into the middle, run and carry, but they do end up having a shot from the boundary.
Ugelhagen steps out, curls it around the corner and misses to the left-hand side. So the Bulldogs' second score of the quarter. 23 minutes gone in the second term. It's Hawthorn lead by 15 points. First or second score?
No, first.
That was their first.
23 and a half minutes in. As Amon doing the kick-out duties, takes some ground, goes long to Meek, who got rid of English. Says that's all okay, and then takes the mark.
He's a big fella, isn't he? Meek. Big shoulders.
Big lump.
Yeah.
Big Lloyd Meek lays a hand pass off to Amon, who kicked it to him and then sends it down the line and punched out a play by Deere. Really breaks up his own teammate Hardwick, who could have taken a chest mark. It's out of play and a boundary throw-in dockside on the wing.
Yeah, Corby, we're not allowed to have weights in this, but he'd have to go 120, wouldn't he? He's just, look at the big legs, big shoulders. We're only guessing on this, of course. We're not allowed to talk about weight anymore.
If the over-under's 110, you're taking the over, aren't you?
Yep.
For the boundary throw-in. Hurried kick forward from Nash. Inside the forward 50, hands to it. No mark from Deere. Ball hits the deck, still fighting for it. Warpool tackled, dispossessed. Connor McDonald sockers it away. Bounces to Gallagher. There's a free socket in danger. Yep, it's going against Connor McDonald. It will come back to Jones, who's going to get it at fullback for the Bulldogs. 15 points, Hawthorn's lead, 24 and a half gone in the second quarter.
Out to Harms, who dinks it over the top to Treloar. Back to Harms, up to Garcia on the wing. It bounces in front of him. And Scrimshaw sees the ball out of play. The Bulldogs with just one behind in this second quarter. After Aaron Norton gold after the quarter time siren to lead by 5 points at the first change. The Hawks have put on 3 goals, 3 at the other end. Completely changed this match. As it's thrown back in front of the two benches. Meek works his way to the front, but English wins down the tap. Out in front of Richards, who gathers. Morrison gathers him. Somehow got it to Bontempelli. The Bulldogs captain with a hand pass to Treloar. One way and then the other. Back to Bontempelli. Chip kick is smothered by Newcomb. Nash for the Hawks. Hand pass to Weddle. He's locked up by Bontempelli. He fights for the footy. The Dogs captain lifting. Trying to knock it in the middle of the ground. Meek couldn't gather. Bontempelli has another go. Gets it to Richards. Hand pass to English. Away to McRae. Treloar through the middle of the ground. Chips it away. And here goes Bramble.
Bramble can kick the Bulldogs deep inside forward 50. The two key targets both down there. It slides past both Norton and Ugelhagen. Sicily had it, lost it. Ugelhagen collects, tackled by Sicily. Ball comes out. Impey close to the boundary line, keeps it alive. Hand pass to Hardwick, who's back in defence to lend a hand. Clears a defensive 50. O'Donnell flies for it, no mark. Falls through to Bramble. He's got more sweating on him, more tackles into ground. Umpire comes in and says, I'll have it. Ball up on the City wing. He called Bont twice there, Clinchy. That gets him up to just 4 disposals for the quarter, so might speak to a few of the Dogs' problems in this second term. It is Hawthorn by 15 points. They've kicked 3-3 in the quarter to 1 behind.
A chance for the Dogs here as McRae looks up inside 50. He might have got a shove as he got his kick away. It won't be downfield. It'll come back to Jack McRae. He'll take it between wing and half forward on the outer side, but has allowed Hawthorn to get numbers back. Turns and comes inboard to Bontempelli from 75. Long towards Norton. And he juggles the mark at the top of the goal square. Just got the Hawthorn defence napping. Well, Morrison with an apology to Sam Frost. He was slow to react, and Aaron Norton with a chance kicked the Dogs first since his goal after the siren at quarter time.
Well, it takes the captain to kick the ball 60 metres instead of the 15, 20 metre rubbish that they've served up. And they find themselves now having a shot on goal and bring it back to respectable at half time.
Aaron Norton from 15 metres out, shooting for his second. Goal umpire took a few strides to his left, but Norton steers it through. And the Bulldogs pull one back, their first of the second quarter, and Hawthorn's lead is 9 points. 7-5-47 to the Bulldogs, 6-2-38 on ABC Sport. You're with Brad Sewell and Mick Malthouse.
Bontempelli's efforts and work rate, the stoppage beneath us here in the commentary box on the wing that forced forced Western Bulldogs work rate just to lift a little bit. Yeah. He's one of the best players in the competition for that reason. The clear barometer. When he puts this side on his back, they're very hard to stop. And his efforts in the last 5 minutes have resulted in that Norton goal.
2 disposals in the first 18 minutes of the quarter. He's had 3 in the last minute and a half.
Yeah. So. It was his efforts as well, though. His tackles, second, third efforts.
Tap-ons.
Yeah.
That extra play behind the ball has really worried the Dogs, and they can't capitalise with their extra.
He's at the centre bounce here, Bontempelli. It's a crooked bounce, and the ump will recall it. Earlier today, 3 games, none of them overlapping, so back-to-back-to-back footy. Fremantle by 54 over Richmond at the G. We've got the Bulldogs and the Hawks on a proper Sunday night footy game. Starts just after 7 o'clock Eastern. The Q Clash up north. We'll get to that next. The restart. English down to Treloar. Hurried kick forward. Scrimshaw breaks it up. Spills down to Impey. Kicks into space out on that City side wing, looking for more. He's caught at the back. Karmas collects, more tackles in. Ball spills out of play. Your thoughts on the SMS? Ali and Corrigan, loving the call. I'm currently unhooking my bar after I seeded through the sheep yards. Appreciate that, Ali. On a similar theme, Ben says, good call, lads. I'm listening from the Mallee in South Australia while on the tractor, putting the crops in the dust. So people right across the country, 0437 774 774, the SMS.
Good on you, Ben. Gallagher for the Bulldogs, gets the hand pass away to Liberatore. High kick towards half forward. Ugelhagen through his hands. Norton's onto it. Hand pass out in front of Richards. Runs inside 50. Gathers. Steadies. Vacant goal mouth. He misses to the left-hand side. Right on the siren of half-time. So Hawthorn hold an 8-point advantage at the main break. They put it 3-1 in that second quarter. After the Bulldogs were largely held scoreless for large portions of it. And Hawthorn 7-5-47 to the Bulldogs 6-3-39. For the Hawks, 2 goals to Jack Gunston, individuals to Newcomb, Meek, Ward, McDonald and Deere. While for the Western Bulldogs, 2 goals to Aaron Norton, individuals to Ugelhagen, Bontempelli, Vandermeer and English.
It was a fast start to the game. We saw the Bulldogs kick 3 goals in the first 6 minutes. They kicked their first 2 goals from the opening 7 disposals. And already Hawthorn were 12 points behind before they'd even had a single disposal in the game. Once they settled, it's really been Hawthorn throughout. They kicked 7 out of 9 through the middle part. And then, as Clinchy mentioned, the last goal of that half going the way of Aaron Norton. And as a result, the Hawks lead cut to 8 points at half-time. Hawks by 8 over the Bulldogs. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clench, Rory Campbell on the boundary, Brad Sewell and Mick Malthouse. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. A few more off the SMS. A shout-out to Vernon for his birthday today. Sowing his oats and crop and salmon gums today. Sounds like a cracking game too by 2 teams who haven't been without their tough times lately. That's spot on. Appreciate that and happy birthday to Vernon. Marcus in South Melbourne. The first footy I ever saw on television was the 1961 grand final between Hawthorn and Footscray. Now he notes here, Marcus, the year the Scraggers, Peter Box won the Brownlow and the Hawks won their premiership. Now Peter Box actually won the Brownlow in their premiership year in 54.
Yep.
So I think it was, I'll check that, but I don't think there was a Bulldogs player that won in 61, so just to clarify
I'm trying to think of 61. Who would have, well, mind you, I was 8.
Yep. And Wendy from Bendigo hasn't missed you here, Mick. Hi, panel. Love your work. Can you please ask Mick at half-time what he thought of the D's win last night? On his show yesterday on AFL Saturday with Luke Paul, he said that Melbourne only have 3 good players from Wendy and Bendigo.
Those 3 played very well. Well, have a look at that goal of Gawn. No, I'll take my hat off to Melbourne. The Cats are a very good football side, but Melbourne got them. And to think two great sides couldn't kick a goal in the second quarter, I thought was quite remarkable.
Shout out to John James from Carlton, who won the Brownlow in 1961, three-time Carlton BNF winner. So just to clarify that. But nice to hear from you, Marcus, and thanks, Wendy, as well for that contribution. You can keep them coming, 0437 774 774. Two men who were in the same Australian team back in 2008. Mick Moldhouse was the coach. Brad Saul was part of that unit in the International Rules Series. Now they're with us here on ABC Sport with their take on that first half. Hawthorn by 8 points at halftime.
Mick, it was really interesting, entertaining football, wasn't it? It felt like, and just looking at the stats, and they support this as well, a lot of those 50-50 contests seemed to go the way of Hawthorn around the ground. And so for the first 3 quarters of that second quarter, for the first 20 minutes, the game was played in Hawthorn's half. They should have done more damage on the scoreboard. They had their opportunities but couldn't quite capitalise. It wasn't until Bontempelli had a couple of big efforts that managed to get the Bulldogs going in those last couple of minutes. The thing that stands out for mine, Nick, is the contested possessions. It's 73-58 in Hawthorn's favour.
So that falls into exactly what you're saying.
But funnily enough, clearances are 21-13 in Western Bulldogs' favour, and those centre clearances are 6-4. So Bulldogs are controlling the stoppages, but Hawthorn's pressure and the Bulldogs possibly overusing the ball means that Hawthorn are able to get the ball played in their half. The challenge for the Bulldogs is to win those 50-50 contests.
Yeah.
They actually don't want stoppages, do they, Hawthorn? They're pretty happy for the game to keep flowing, whereas the Bulldogs are so reliant on that for that aspect of their game.
Well, they're reliant on it, but they don't need it. If they can get their run going, but I'd like, it's when a side gets a man behind the ball, all of a sudden there's this confusion of who do we use, how long do we go, what have we got. If you're worried about the play behind the ball, okay, there's 3 ways to do it. One, you go with him, so that all of a sudden depletes your back line. Perhaps you need an extra player. Secondly, is you have him back in the back line and then say, well, okay, you now take us on too because we're one. Or you bring him up to the stoppage, but then at the stoppage, you've got to be used. And right now, the loose play that the Dogs are getting is insignificant. We're just not seeing him, whereas the Hawks are really worrying the Dogs when they go forward. But having said that, they only went forward inside their front 50, I think about 6 or 7 times that quarter. What have they done for the game there, Clinchy?
So the inside 50 is 24 the way of the Hawks, 23 the way of the Dogs.
Well, that's interesting. 14-9, 14-9, yeah, okay. So, but it was really it went heavily Hawthorn's way that quarter. So I'm certainly not barracking, but I'd like to think, for the Dogs' point of view, I can't see Hawthorn making the 8. The Dogs, if they lose games like this, they can, especially with the competition in that middle area, they've got to win these games. And outside of the fact that my son barracks for the Dogs and so does 2 grandchildren, I've got to say that I'd like to see the Dogs do well, but I'm just as happy to see Hawthorn the way they're playing. But to me, it can be overdone. You can see what Hawthorn are doing, and you can see what the Dogs aren't doing. So, it's pretty clear cut. And again, you don't want to be a clever dick and this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Simple fact is
it easy enough to adjust?
Oh, well, I reckon you can adjust it.
Yep.
But you've got to also have. There's one mental one, and that is you've got to get your hands dirty. Contested football is not a matter of putting an extra man there. It's a matter of putting your head over the football and getting the numbers there. The ball went into the back line on 3 or 4 occasions, and it was run out by one player from Hawthorn, who was the extra player. So that means they're working well together. So you've got to make a decision on that.
Like what you're saying, Sully, compared to last week, good adjustment from the Hawks?
Definitely, a much better adjustment.
Much better. It was pretty grim, wasn't it, last Sunday at the MCG, that the Hawks, they've certainly shown up. We did have our fears after they conceded the first 3 goals inside the opening 6 minutes. This time last week, Hawthorn was 7 goals down at half-time. Today, they lead the Western Bulldogs by 8 at the half. Earlier today, Fremantle by 54 points over Richmond. And good news out of the Giants with Tom Green cleared of any serious ankle trouble. Was caught underneath a couple of players yesterday in that Sydney derby. He was subbed out, sent for scans. He has been cleared, as I said, of any serious damage. He is still listed as a test for that game up against Essendon. So hasn't been ruled out, but still has to prove his fitness later in the week. Tom Green to play next weekend. We'll tell you more about the rest of the day and whatever else is making news with the MRO as that news filters through. We're exactly at the halfway point of the day with another 6 quarters of footy still to come. The Q clash later today between the Lions and the Suns. Half-time here at Dockland, second half not far away. The Hawks by 8 points. But in the interim, let's get the latest from the ABC newsroom. Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. WA police say a teenager who died during a police confrontation overnight was known to them due to concerns about radicalisation. Pramila Ratnam has the story.
Police say they received a call just after 10 o'clock last night from a teenage male who said he was going to commit acts of violence. A few minutes later, they received a call from a member of the public reporting a knife attack in Perth's southern suburb of Willetton. Police say when they arrived at the scene, a 16-year-old Caucasian male advanced upon them with a kitchen knife. The teenager was shot by police and died at the scene. Police say the boy was thought to have suffered from mental health issues, but had also been radicalised online. A 30-year-old victim of the alleged attacker was rushed to Royal Perth Hospital. Investigations are ongoing.
Forensic testing is being carried out on human remains discovered near where 2 Australian brothers and their American friend went missing. Ali Crew has the details.
Authorities in Mexico say bodies found in Baja California very likely belong to Perth brothers Jake and Callum Robinson and their American friend Jack Carter Road, who haven't been seen since April 27. They disappeared while on a surf trip south of the city of Ensenada. 4 bodies have been found in a well near their burnt-out campsite, and officials say they have strong evidence 3 of them belong to the missing men, but they're yet to be formally identified. Police say the 4th body had been there for some time and doesn't appear to be connected to the case.
A domestic violence shelter in Western Sydney says it has to turn away about 6 women in need a week because it doesn't have the money it needs. Her house in Blacktown relies on fundraisers and donations to keep the shelter open to migrant women. However, the operator, Harmon Foundation, says governments don't provide it with funding despite its agencies making referrals. Over 8 years, the domestic violence shelter has been a place of refuge for 75 migrant women and children.
When I left my home, I wasn't able to do anything at that time. I was so shattered. I was I'm useless. But when I came here, I got to know I have also the courage to do something in my life.
Police searching for a man missing since last weekend in Melbourne's Outer East say he went for a walk with no shoes on. 22-year-old Zachary was last seen near his home on Norton Road in Callista on the 28th of April. In the weeks since then, search parties have scoured the Northern Forest area between Callista and Sherbrooke. Acting Senior Sergeant Luke Schroeder says Zachary's last contact suggests he entered the forest barefoot.
We've got some Snapchat video that he sent to a friend indicating that he was walking barefoot through the forest. But that's about all we've got to go on at the moment.
Queensland childcare centres and families have criticised the rollout of the state government's free kindy scheme, describing it as badly managed. Ned Hammond has more.
The program was first announced by the former Palaszczuk government in June last year, with a promise to make kindergarten free for Queenslanders starting January 1st. It includes 15 hours of free kindy per week for 40 weeks of the year. Some families sending their children to kindy through long daycare centres rather than standalone kindergartens say the process is overly complex and hasn't delivered savings, while one childcare centre labelled the program as ill thought out and badly managed. They're calling for a simpler, fairer system, but Education Queensland said in a statement the program was fair once all subsidies were applied.
Britain's opposition leader is calling on the governing Conservatives to bring on a general election. It comes after the Tories took a drubbing in local government elections, with the Labor Party winning 10 of 11 mayoral races, including the City of London. Labor opposition leader Keir Starmer says Britons have had enough of the Tories.
The message out of these elections, the last elections now, the last stop before we go into that general election, is the country wants change. I hope the Prime Minister is listening and gives the opportunity to the country general election as soon as possible.
And research by the BBC suggests that Russia has probably been recruiting Cubans to fight in Ukraine. A pro-Ukrainian online platform has leaked passport details of over 200 Cubans who've allegedly joined the Russian army.
The site says the passport details were obtained by hacking emails of a Russian military recruitment office, and a Facebook search has shown 31 of the names mentioned in the Ukrainian leak match accounts whose owners appear to be in Russia or linked to the Russian army. Russia has suffered heavy losses since launching its invasion of Ukraine 2 years ago.
There's a vault of secrets to unravel on ABC iView. Delve deep in Happy Valley and the control room.
She is the victim, I swear.
Peel back the layers in House of Gods and After the Party.
How do you know they're innocent?
And seek answers in Total Control and so much more.
You start fires wherever you go.
A vault of entertainment. Always free, always suspenseful on ABC iView. This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Still a chance for more. He gathers a loose footy for Hawthorn. Out past to Newcomb from 50. Winds up. Ward's on the line. He lets it go through. And it bounces through. Looks up to Ward at half forward. He's uncontested. He takes the mark in front of Gallagher. He's got Connor McDonald all on his own. Just had to find him. And he's left of centre, 45 metres out from goal. Starts his approach. The third-year Hawk skips out to the right, looking to extend Hawthorn's lead. It's a beautiful kick off the boot, and through it goes. Newcomb's onto it, draws an opponent. Half pass to Dylan Moore on the run from 45. Kicks to Gunston at the top of the goal square. Spoke with Keisha Deer in the lead-up to making his debut. Both have lost their dad. He'd want to play well, and Gunston comes in and puts through his second. And the Hawks are out to their biggest lead of the match. It's a 15-point ball game. Terrenza comes inboard to Bontempelli from 75, long towards Norton, and he juggles the mark at the top of the goal square. Just got the Hawthorn defence napping. Aaron Norton from 15 metres out, shooting for his second. Goal umpire took a few strides to his left, but Norton steers it through. And the Bulldogs pull one back, their first of the second quarter.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Entertaining game of footy so far. The Dogs kicked the first 3 goals inside the opening 6 minutes. And all of a sudden, Hawthorn were 3 goals down before they could blink. And from that point on, they took over the game. They kicked 7 of the next 9 goals, led by as many as 15 points. And at halftime, the Hawks' lead has been cut to 8, courtesy of a late goal for Aaron Norton. This is ABC Sports coverage of Sunday footy. Now, the second of 3 games still to come this afternoon. The Q clash between the Brisbane Lions, who are desperately trying to claw back their season. Last year's grand finalists currently sitting at 2-5. You have to go back to St Kilda in 1997 as the only team to be as low as the Lions are now after round 7 to make the grand final. So if they are hoping to still make it into the 8 and make a deep run, they'll want to start by beating their crosstown rival in the Gold Coast Suns, so that is coming up later today. Earlier today, one match already complete at the MCG. It was Fremantle by 9 goals. The votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year, Caleb Sarong got 1 vote for his 38 disposals. Luke Ryan got 2 votes for his 39 touches. And Hayden Young was adjudged best of field, 30 disposals and 2 goals. Sean Darcy was actually subbed out with an ankle complaint. That was in the 3rd term. So Nat Fyfe, who actually started as the sub on the back of his return to form last week over in Perth, he came on in the 3rd term. But Fremantle winners by 9 goals, and as a result make it back-to-back wins on the season. Corbin Middlemass alongside Matt Clench, Mick Moldhouse, Brad Saul and Rory Campbell is your call team. Riley Sanders earlier today, so he's one that's out of the Dogs team at the moment. You made a little bit of news a couple of weeks ago, Mick. I think it was 3 weeks ago. We did the Essendon Bulldogs game here. He was subbed out, had a little bit of a tantrum on the bench. He's now found himself out of the team. In some better news, he's gone back to VFL level against Box Hill today. 27 disposals, 10 tackles, 8 clearances. So found a bit of it in the Magoos.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's got 10 tackles, 8 clearances. A kid like that, look, sometimes they've got to learn the hard way, that things don't just fall into place, and you've got to be careful of your body language as a young player. Oh, in fact, you've got to be careful about your body language anytime in the public arena. So I don't think it'll do him any harm to be pushed back. I know that Luke Beveridge is very, very keen on getting this player into the side and wanted him in the side and wanted him to change things that have been so much just inside the 8 or just outside the 8, nothing was happening, and people got pretty critical of the fact of who he was leaving out of the side. But you keep going back to the same play. I don't say for one moment about Dale, who's now in the senior side, nor Caleb Daniel, but at some stage he's got to say enough's enough. I've got to reorganise my side because we're just getting nowhere.
Yeah.
So this young player could be part of the new. Well, mind you, today the way they'd be quite happy to see him in the middle today of those sort of stats.
They got a debutant today in Charlie Clark, who we've seen a little bit of so far. He's playing that difficult role across half forward. He's had 5 disposals. He is pick 24. So a second-round pick in the national draft from 2022. Spent all of last year out of the senior team. He gets his opportunity today in round 8. Comes out of the Sandringham Dragons. I was looking back through the 2022 best and fairest from that year. He was the runner-up. So runner-up in the best and fairest in the Sandringham Dragons. The best and fairest was won by a guy by the name of Will Ashcroft. So that's a pretty good guy to be behind. And the guy who came third was Harry Sheasel. So it's a pretty good stock. So Charlie Clark makes his debut today for the Dogs. Couple off the SMS. Ralph, shout out to you listening in Western Serbia. Thanks for being with us. Loving the call as usual, even though the Tigers lost. So not the result that Ralph was looking for. Rusty says, go Freo, other side of the coin. G'day, guys. Loving the call, sitting on the tractor, seeding away in Wagen in WA. Home of the ginormous sheep. We actually played a school cricket game in Wagen.
I'll ask him a question if he's listening. That rain, did you get any rain at all? I was in the west about a month ago, and it was that hot and dry. I know they've had some rain, but I'm just hoping that these farmers that are planting seed can get a bit of moisture into the soil.
Have you seen the big, is it a sheep or a ram in Wagen? Big thing down there.
What is it?
He'll
tell us. He'll tell us for sure.
We played a school cricket game down there once.
Peter Matera Wagen, isn't it?
Yes. The Matera Oval. But that's where we played this game.
Right.
And so it's got a footy field and a cricket ground in the middle of it, and it's a trotting track on the outside.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
so
okay.
The Matera Oval. Brad Hogg's from down that way, I'm pretty sure as well. Of course, the World Cup winning spinner for the Aussies. And Ben in Gawler, loving the call, lads, just finished a 3-hour, 30-kilometre run through the Barossa with the footy to keep me going from going insane. Keep up the great work from Ben. Well done to you, Ben. 30 Ks.
Wow. Well done.
It's a good Sunday run. Shout out to John Schultz, who won a Brownlow for the Dogs the year before in 1960, of course. And from Angus, Corby and Co. Busy seeding my alfalfa beans in my tractor, listening to another great call of football. Good on you, Angus. Appreciate that.
John Schultz, he got me a couple of weeks as chairman of the tribunal at one stage.
Second half underway here. Hawks by 8 points. You're with Matt Clinch on ABC Sport.
Newcomb got the clearance of Day, who's dumped in a tackle, but it's a sling tackle from Tom Liberatore, and Will Day went crashing into the turf. Might get looked at by the match review officer as he'll take his free kick in the middle of Docklands. Cheer out to Mitch Turner in the studio and everyone who's typing madly. It's a ram, apparently, as he goes short to Morrison, who marks at the edge of the centre square. Half pass back to Will Day. Bounding through the middle of the ground. Kicks inside 50. Up goes Jones. Can't complete the mark. Ginneman tries to knock it onto Moore. It's knocked boundary side by O'Donnell and eventually across. No, it stays in for the moment. Spills out towards the goal. Lloyd Mead tries to put a slipper in there. Spills to McInnes. He's tackled by Treloar. Not before he got it to his boot, but he misses to the right-hand side. That would have brought Hawthorn fans to their feet. A minor score to start the second half. Hawthorn by 8 points.
Here's Dale, who marks the kick out, and he comes wide with the kick to English, and he marks it half-back. Hand pass away to Harms. Handball to Bontempelli, gives it back to Harms. Hand pass away to Karmas, and Harms is going to get his third touch in the chain. Heading east-west here across the half-back line, finds Williams, who marks. He kicks further afield, and Dale's off and running. Burns past D'Ambrosio, kicks inside the forward 50, and Sam Darcy clunks it out on the lead at right half-forward. And that is some nice transition footy from the Bulldogs.
Well, the transition across the ground was iffy. The transition from half-back then, with Dale, with the ball in Dale's hand, and he runs the football and uses it, that's the transition that can bring any side undone. And that's exactly why the ball's in Darcy's hands, because of the run, as opposed to stopping halfway across the ground.
The Ram's name is actually Bart as well, so shout out to the 23-metre Bart, the Ram. As Darcy to finish his work, he misses to the near side of behind. 7-6 to 6-4 is the scoreline. Hawthorn by 8 points. 2 minutes into the third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass alongside Matt Clench, Brad Sewell, Mick Moldhouse and Rory Campbell, your call team.
Scrimshaw into the pocket for Sicily. Spoiled away by Williams and eventually taken out of play by Carl Amon, and a throw in the right forward pocket for the Western Bulldogs. Hawthorn 7-6-48 to the Dogs 6-4-40. Bulldogs led by 5 points at quarter time. Hawthorn by 8 points at the main break. As it's about to be tossed back into play. Players on the move. Meek works his way to the front against Darcy and wins down the tap. On the move, Jarman Impey is tackled. As Darcy followed up his ruck work, and the umpire will ball it up 45 metres out from the Western Bulldogs goal. Tossed in the air once more. Meek tries to tap it down into the path of day. Bontempelli on all fours trying to knock it out for the Western Bulldogs. He can't do so successfully, and the umpire will ball it up.
The Dogs are certainly holding a man back now behind the ball. They're not worried about going at the pack or in front.
Meek wins it down. Pack collapses behind him. We'll have another ball up. Adam Treloar wrapping up that tackle. Meek pushes it towards the boundary line. McRae keeps it alive. Hand pass to Williams. Back to McRae. 70 metres out at half forward. Kicks the Dogs inside 50. Leaping over the pack is Frost. Takes a very nice intercept mark and wants to immediately go. Hand pass to Scrimshaw. Kicks out to the back flank, and here's Sicily, who's somehow getting jeered, and he's got the footy with his right shoulder strapped at left half back for the Hawks. Hawthorn by 8 points. 4 gone third term.
Call to play on. His kick is smothered. Williams brings it down. Hand pass into the pocket end over in towards Ugelhagen. Jarman Impey just sweats back in. Gathers to the Hawks. Looks across the face of goal. Kicks to Morrison, who marks in the right back pocket.
Well shut down by the Bulldogs. Hawthorn looked like they should have been out. They've just slowed them up in this transition.
Harry Morrison out of contract at season's end. Chips it over the top, and Massimo D'Ambrosio has it still in the right back pocket for the Hawks. He can return it to Morrison, barely 15. But they've worked this to right half back. Hawthorn by 8 points. As Morrison's eyes are darting into the middle of the ground. No real options present, so sends it high and long down the wing. Setting himself is Meek. It didn't get to him. English spoils it down. Garcia's hand pass to Treloar for the Dogs. Hand pass back to English. Works it back to O'Donnell. Now to Jones on the wing. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Liberatore with the arms outstretched. Marks in front of Weddle. He's to the left of the centre circles as he looks up towards half forward. Spots English with a few metres on Meek. He takes the mark just outside the arc. He's 55 metres out from home. Ugelhagen offers a lead. That's ignored. Darcy offers a lead. That's also ignored. English looks long towards the teeth of goal. He pokes it in the direction of Norton, who flies but can't come down with the footy. Bontempelli, hand pass away. Clark on to Boone, misses. Out to the right-hand side, a minor score. Hawthorn lead by 7 points. It was set for Aaron Norton, who flew, just couldn't come down and claim the mark.
I reckon Liberatore's got great sight to find English, but he had a player inside 50 who was totally clear. I'm just trying to, not quite working out who it is, but 35, 40 metre shot on goal, almost directly in front, so he's really missed him.
Impey with the kick-out duties takes some ground and then goes long out towards half-back. They all fly after the footy, no mark. Slips its way through to Gunston, though, who ends up with the defensive side of the wing. Goes long towards Ginnivan, and a one-on-one with O'Donnell. Guinea's got it out the back. Burns off O'Donnell. 52 metres out. Pulls his kick to Hardwick, who takes the mark in the corridor. He'll kick from 45 out, get in front.
Poor defensively by the Bulldogs to allow the kick from full back to get over the top of that contest, allowing Gunston plenty of grass to run into. Clever one-on-one by Ginnivan to again let the ball go over the back. Cardinal sin defensively for the Bulldogs.
Spot on. Happens in back-to-back contests and results in the clean transition in this shot. Blake Hardwick, who spent time deep at both ends already today. Fast becoming Sam Mitchell's swingman. Blake Hardwick misses out to the left. Both teams have had gettable goals today that have gone begging, as that shot from Blake Hardwick. 7-7 to 6-5. Hawthorn by 8 points. 7 gone third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Dale into Johannesson. Goes short to Karmas. He's still inside the defensive 50. Hand pass back to Johannesson. Chips it and turns it over. Looking for O'Donnell. The mark is taken by Deere. He's at right half forward. Has Gunston. Goes for Hardwick. Spoiled away. Good work by Johannesson. Spills out to Treloar. Back to Johannesson. Hand pass out in front of English. Jarmanippi slides in for Hawthorn. Knocks it out to McInnes. Hand pass into the corridor. Tough one for Warple. Worried the tackle of Liberatore. It spills to Nash. Hand pass back to Newcomb. Piercy inside 50. McRae for the Dogs. Hand pass to Bontempelli. No one comes at him. Hardwick almost runs him down. He kicks to Liberatore. It bounced off his chest. Nash for the Hawks regathers. Hand pass away to Amon. Drives it inside 50. Ginnivan's there. He stays down. Deere does the flying. It spills down to the front of the pack. Newcomb can't gather. Richards for the Dogs. Hand pass to Treloar.
Oh, Treloar's mowed down 2 by Warple. Got a hand pass away. On the end of it, Connor McDonald kicks a goal on the run. And the Hawks set the tone early in the second half. Great chase down tackle from Warple. Forces the turnover. And Connor McDonald does the rest. He's got his second. Hawthorn out by 14 points. 8 gone in the third term. The Hawks 8-7-55. The Western Bulldogs 6-5-41. The two-time premiership Hawk Brad Saul and the coaching icon Mick Malthouse.
Mick, I'm not quite sure what to make of that. On numerous occasions, Bulldogs looked like they were out. They held onto the ball for a little bit too long.
Again, Suli.
They seem to be making these simple fundamental errors, the Bulldogs, where they're losing 50-50 contests that they shouldn't, or they're just trying to do too much with the ball, just get it out of the dangerous space.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just watching the replay. Fantastic check side kick by McDonald to sneak that
wrapped
inside the goal line, didn't it? Straight to post.
It virtually wrapped itself around the post. I totally agree. This overuse, you only invite a side that's good at tackling and contested football, you're inviting them to get their numbers up.
The Bulldogs kicked the first 3 goals of the match, but since then it's been 8 of their last 11, and Hawthorn playing the better footy. Treloar for the Bulldogs, out towards half forward. Darcy worked underneath it, and Sicily. The free kick going Hawthorn's way. They take the advantage. Quick kick out to Moore, who gathers centre wing. Looks up towards the 50. Back dribbling. Hardwick takes the mark. Deep in the left forward pocket, 45 metres out from goal. He looks to the top of the square. He has Deere and Newcomb. And now Blake Hardwick might be thinking the best option is my set shot. He goes short to Gunston. Eventually an offer presented. And that's lazy from the Bulldogs as Jack Gunston marks on his chest. Tom Liberatore was trying to offer chase, but he opens up the angle and he'll shoot from 45 metres out.
I would love to know who the direct opponent is of Gunston, because that's your man. No handing over to a rover.
2 goals, 2 this afternoon for Jack Gunston. He misses to the left-hand side. So make that 2-3, and Hawthorn's lead is 15 points at the 10-minute mark of the third quarter on ABC Sport.
Had their chance, Hawthorn in front of goal. A number of shots in the second quarter they missed also.
All right, Bailey Dale with the kick-out duties. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Hawks by 15. Decides to go short to English, who marks, and the All-Australian ruckman turns and runs away down the outer wing, hits up Vandermeer.
Look at his agility. He's now not only kicked that ball, now he's inside the front 50.
His work rate was extraordinary then.
Kicks headed down in that direction, and in the end it was misdirected off the boot of Vandermeer, and an easy intercept mark for Impey. He goes all the way back to Morrison as the Hawks look to switch.
There's their extra number. They'll just run that ball out with that extra.
Short kick to Weddle. Weddle now pokes the pass out to Ward. Picked 7 in the draft a couple of years ago, now in year 3. Found himself out of the team for a couple of weeks, recalled today. Josh Ward, he goes back to Impey, and they want to Amon rather, and they want to try and switch play to the opposite side. Now Impey's involved as he marks here on the back flank. Hits up McKenzie against the boundary line. The Dogs well set up for the time being. Hawthorn by 15 points, 11 gone in the third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Back inside defensive 50 to Jarman Impey, who takes it with the right mitt. They want him to try and switch it. Works it to Sicily in the right back pocket. Looks up around the broadcast wing. Lloyd Meek has a few metres on Williams. He rises. Williams did well, made the spoil, and sees the ball out of play in front of the 2 benches. Hawthorn by 15 points, 8-8-56 to the Bulldogs, 6-5-41. 12 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Good news for you, Mick. Widespread areas of the WA wheat belt have had useful rain, with the northern wheat belt the only exception. Seeding of crops is in full swing.
Good for them. They do it very hard, those farmers.
Toss back in, English wins down the tap. Day is brought down by Bontempelli, and they'll do it once more in front of the AFL logo on the broadcast side. The Hawks leading by 15 points as it's tossed in the air. Spills down to Liberatore. He's tackled by Warple. Nash tries to extract it. Bontempelli's onto him. And a ball up. Bailey Dale leads the way with 24 disposals. 19 for Treloar and Jarman Impey. 17 for James Harms.
Meek wins it down to Nash, who tumbles a kick all the way along the boundary line. It still hasn't gone out. There's a free for a hold as Hardwick has his jumper tugged. It's against Jones. And in the end, it turns out to be a more than useful hurry kick forward from Nash. Hardwick's looking back inside the corridor. In the end, he's just going to lay it up to the top of the goal square. Gunston in the pack. Ball spills down, though, to Bramble. Jams it on the boot out to half-back. Collected by Weddle. Arches the back. Runs away from a couple. Now from 45 out across the body. If you don't mind, Josh Weddle has arrived. Carrying the famous number 23. Josh Weddle with a special on the run. Had to hook it across the body and didn't have any troubles with the distance. Goes through post high from 45 out. Weddle with his third goal in the big time. The 19-year-old puts Hawthorn out to a new game high lead. Hawthorn by 21, 13 gone in the third term. Brad Saul and Mick Malthouse.
He's a special player, Weddle. Predominantly he's played key back today on Ugle-Hagan for the most part, and also Darcy at times as well. Very rarely does he get beaten one-on-one in those marking contests, but his run and carry, his dash is so important from the back half for Hawthorn, and when he gets high up the ground like that, it's fantastic then to see him finish. Terrific goal.
I just can't see how they can get back in this game, Sorry.
Just a quick shout out to Andrew, who sent that message about the rain in the wheat belt. Enjoying the call from the tractor seat in Barley in Dowring in WA. Shout out to local footy legend Mozza, who played his 300th game for the Mighty Tigers last weekend at the age of 40. So thanks, Andrew, and well done to Mozza.
News coming through from the match review officer. We'll bring you that in just a minute as Darcy's gone into the ruck. He's up against Connor Nash here. Spills down the way of Warple. Hand pass to Moore. Kicks inside 50. Jones comes out in front of Gunston. Made the spoil. It spills to Hardwick. Screws it back around his shoulder. Straight up in the air it goes. Carmus and Jones underneath it for the Dogs. And off hands it goes out of play. A throw in the right forward pocket for the Hawks. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Guys, Hawthorn have activated their sub. Nick Watson has run onto the ground. It looks like Cam McKenzie has moved to the back seat on the bench. Doesn't seem to be any injury concern, so it looks like a tactical sub.
Toss back into play up against the right behind post. The Hawks in attack, having booted 2 goals to none so far in this third quarter. Darcy wins down the tap. It spills to Williams of the Dogs. Hand pass to Carmus. Kicks the chaotic ball up towards halfback. Norton comes charging out. Sicily makes the spoil. And it goes across the boundary line for a throw-in. So we've got the good news that Tom Green's ankle injury isn't as bad as we first thought. The match review panel is in. Corby, what about Callum Brown?
Yeah, not so fortunate here, Clinchy. 3 matches is what he's been offered for his collision yesterday that left Tom McCartan concussed. Careless, severe and high, so in line with the other incidents I guess we've seen involving a couple of players already this year involving including Peter Wright famously. So 3 matches for Callum Brown as it sits at the moment. The Dogs win it from the ball up here, and the kick, a good one from Dale as he hits up Vandermeer, middle of the ground for the Bulldogs. Key stage of the game, Hawthorn by 21 midway through the third. Vandermeer sends it down to half forward. There's a free for a push, and Norton, in fact,
it's the only way back. The only way back in the game is just quick movement. Otherwise, they're virtually dead in the water. The Hawks have just got all the answers, and they're just tougher at the footy. Much tougher at the footy.
9 goals to 3 after the first 6 minutes. It's been all Hawthorn. So Norton kicks it to the hot spot. Bontempelli! The skipper floats through and rips it down from the pack. There was about 10 involved in that. And Bontempelli, the classiest player on the ground, just flies through and comes up with the Sharon in a key moment for his team.
Without him.
Terrific mark, good positioning. You can't let a player like that access to the ball, Mick. And we saw 5 pairs of hands going up, not a single fisted attempt by a Hawthorn defender.
No, I don't think they ever expected him to go, though. I think they're looking at the tools.
20 out, 45-degree angle, and no problem. As Bontempelli drags the Bulldogs back into it. He's that guy. And the Bulldogs, with their 7th goal of the day, 7-5-47, Hawthorn 9-8-62. The Hawks lead come to 15, 17 gone in the third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Marcus Bontempelli kicking his second goal of the day. Rory Campbell is on the boundary.
And guys, the Dogs have made their move with the substitute as well. Oscar Baker out there, and the debutant Charlie Clark has come to the back of the bench.
Brad Saul and Mick Moldhouse. There's still hope for the Dogs on the back of that.
There is. He came straight to the bench after kicking that goal, Bontempelli. Would have liked to have seen him go straight into the middle of the ground for this next centre bounce clearance. Whilst he's got that momentum, he's up and about. See if he can jag another one, kicking it forward.
Even if he stayed on the ground, even if it was forward, just to keep his presence there, because he clearly is their class act when you look around the ground.
Trying to lead by example for the Bulldogs to provide a spark. Back in the middle, Nash wins down the tap. In fact, it was Meek against Darcy, and it spills down the way of Treloar. Swings on his right-hand side. Kicks a high ball inside 50. Weddle and Sicily trapped underneath it. D'Ambrosio taps it down. Eventually roved his own tap and then kicks up the wing. McDonald takes the mark for the Hawks. He can chip it out to Will Day. In fact, goes wider still than that, and the mark is taken by Ward. He's between wing and half forward on the outer side.
This next kick is interesting because the Dogs have got involved.
To D'Ambrosio. Richards got in the back, otherwise the Bulldogs would have won the footy back. It'll come back to D'Ambrosio, has it just on the edge of the centre square.
Darcy's just plonked himself in the middle of the forward 50.
So the Hawks might have to be patient with their build-up. He chips it wide to Jack Scrimshaw. He's been very deliberate in his approach this afternoon, having got the spray of Sam Mitchell at quarter time. Closing in on 100 games, the former Gold Coast Sun player. Kicks inside 50. Jones flew through his hands. The Bulldogs defender under pressure. O'Donnell tackled. Hand pass back to Tail. The Hawks are surging. Ward trying to get it forward. Moore couldn't hang on to it. Liberatore desperately diving on the footy. Gets it out to Johannison. Out of luck, kicks to English at half-back.
Hand pass releases his teammate there in Gallagher, who kicks hurriedly down to half-forward. Norton and Frost in a one-on-one. Garcia's on out the back. Frost wins it, though. Grabs the footy and then turns and runs out of space. And that's a key one-on-one victory for the Hawks. The boundary throw in here, high half forward for the Bulldogs.
Well, there's very few players that have got the pace of Frost to go with Norton, so it was a good matchup. But the idea was right by Hawthorn, by the Dogs. Get the ball forward, not mucking around with it.
The Bontempelli goal. Just getting the crowd back involved, but Hawthorn still more than a couple of goals up as Treloar, first touch, away to Johannison, kicks deep inside the forward 50, spills down to Scrimshaw, he's tackled and a ball up forward pocket for the Bulldogs. Hawthorn by 15 as we tick into time on in the third. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
James Sicily just made his way to the bench in a bit of pain a short time ago. I think he's just taken his left boot off, so he's in the wars today. He's getting some medical attention at the moment.
Dogs deep in attack. Darcy tries to tap it down to his own advantage. Kicks towards Norton. Great mark. Not paid. The umpire is going to ball it up. Going back with the flight.
Oh, that's a mark.
Fair chase for Jack Scrimshaw, not paid. He tries to make his case to the umpire, who's only interested in throwing it up. Darcy wins down the tap. Dogs deep in attack. Richards' kick is smothered. Spills out the way of Jarman Impey. Kicks out towards Watson. Karmas reaches over the top. Spoils it away from the sub. Still a chance for the Dogs. Harms lays the tackle. He locks the ball up. At left half forward with Finn McGuinness having it locked to his chest. Hawthorn by 15 points. 20 minutes gone. Third term on ABC Sport.
Sicily's shoulder popping out of the opening quarter. Had that restrapped and returned. And as Rory said, some more running repairs on that left foot at the moment. And free kick here from the restart as Treloar has clipped high and all of that. The tackle from Meek, a little clumsy over the top. So Treloar, attacking edge of the centre square, kicks inside 50. Pack forms just outside the goal square. Not towards the boundary line. Norton clever. Paddles it back to Garcia's advantage. He retreats on the kick to McRae. Short ball inside to Baker, who takes the mark at left half forward for the Dogs. A little hat tip to Aaron Norton, who kept that ball alive and in a dangerous spot in the left forward pocket.
Much better by the Bulldogs, showing a bit more composure. It's looked at times, because you've said the only way they can score is fast plays. When they get that run and carry, Bailey Dale instigate running from behind the ball. But nice to see them here scrap a couple of efforts inside forward 50 and a couple of looks on goal.
Haven't kicked back-to-back goals since the first 6 minutes, the Bulldogs. Can Oscar Baker change that? Appropriately in number 13, that's not a good kick. Across the face, and in the end it's touched by Darcy and out of play. We'll have a throw in right forward pocket.
Close. No, that's a horrid kick.
It didn't really get close, did it?
No, and that's a player who generally is reliable. So it's amazing what a little bit of confidence does. If sitting on the bench, perhaps, I know he's been in the seconds as well. He's got the pace, and he's generally pretty neat with the football.
Both sides have activated their sub in this third quarter. Darcy wins down the tap for the Bulldogs. Lloyd Meek assists with the tackle, and on the very bottom of the pack is Riley Garcia, who slowly gets up to his feet. Right forward pocket for the Western Bulldogs. It's thrown in the air once more. Darcy tries to take it out of the ruck. Meek lays the tackle. He can't get a hand pass away. Spills out to Ward. He's tackled as well. And the umpire will ball it up with Vandermeer putting the clamps on. The Dogs have it locked in their forward 50. Can they get a score from it? Meek wins down the tap. Looking for Newcomb. Onto it. Kicking end over end was Garcia, and it's rushed through for a minor score. The Hawks lead is 14 points at the 22-minute mark of the third quarter on ABC Sport.
Well, if the Dogs are good enough, they can win it. It's not as if they're not good enough. And they're, if there's Hawthorn in the same position, so pound for pound, they perhaps couldn't get there, but the Dogs can get there.
D'Ambrosio on the kick-out duties, goes long up to that City wing. Karma's had a fair piece of it, but no marks. Spills down to Kalshadir on debut. Kicks into the middle of the ground, and Oscar Baker's back to take the intercept mark for the Bulldogs. So Hawthorn by 14 points. They did get it out to as many as 21. Bontempelli kicked the last, and it's a Dogs home game. The crowd's got back involved, and the Bulldogs playing with a bit of extra pep in their step. Goes wide to Williams, who marks on that City wing. Long contest, kick down to half forward. Norton gets a run at it, leaps up, takes the mark, turns and goes immediately. He's got English in the goal square. Getting back to Ambrosio, knocks it away, and in the end it's helped through by Weddle for a rush behind. One more off the lead for the Hawks. It's down to 13 points. 24 gone third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clinch, Rory Campbell on the boundary, Mick Malthouse and Brad Sewell, your call team. We've probably got more than we bargained for so far today here at Docklands. The Hawks taking it right up to the Bulldogs. They lead by 13.
Carl Amon plays onto the back pocket. Big fly from Deer up before acceptances. The mark was taken by Jones. It would have been a Bulldogs free kick anyway.
Game's been played in Bulldogs half this quarter. They need to get more reward on the scoreboard.
Liam Jones with a centering kick, looking for Bontempelli. It won't get to him. Scrimshaw was held. He'll get the free kick for the Hawks. 35 metres out from his defensive goal. He looks out to the broadcast side where players have run to free space. Carl Amon takes the mark. He works it around the boundary line to Hardwick. Back inside the defensive 50 to Impey.
This is just giving the Bulldogs time to set up behind the ball now.
The Hawks deciding to play a tempo style of game in the dying stages of this third quarter. 24 minutes gone. Hawthorn leading by 13 points.
I think a goal either way determines this match.
Hardwick force kick long down the line. Deer rises up in front of Jones. Can't hang on. Spills away a Finn McGuinness, and Liam Jones gets the smother to see it out of play. A throw in front of the benches, not far from where Rory Campbell's watching on.
Yeah, James Sicily has had some strapping applied. He's got the sock and the boot back on. It looks like it's only a matter of time until he comes back onto the field.
He's going to have a big night of icing certain sore body parts, isn't he, James Sicily?
Certainly will.
Jeez, the sore ankle and the shoulder from earlier in the game as Bontempelli hits the stoppage at speed, flies through it, tackled, hand pass back into congestion as Warple's locked up in the tackle.
A bit lucky to get away with that, the Bont, is he holding the ball or incorrect disposal.
And Klein chucks it up on the wing, dockside. Pushed down by Meek to Newcomb. He's tackled too by McRae. Earlier today, a 54-point win for Fremantle over Richmond. We've still got a game to come. The Q clash later tonight. The game on here closing in on three-quarter time. Hawthorn by 13.
English wins down the tap, but straight to Day. He bounced into Williams, kicks up towards Gunston at half forward. He's brought down by Liam Jones. And that could have been insufficient intent. The umpire gives him the benefit of the doubt. He was hard up against the boundary, but there's no doubt Gunston wanted it out of play. Throwing it right half forward for the Hawks.
Both sides got the extra behind the ball. So you've got to navigate that if you're going to score.
So Taylor DeRay for the Western Bulldogs, and James Sicily, no doubt when he gets back on, will be keen to be the extra in defence. Meek tries to break away for a tackle of McRae. It spills out to Warple. Kicks Hawthorn inside 50, getting back with a flight to Ray. Spoiled Jones. Watson against the boundary. Impossible angle. Bounces end over end and just misses the right-hand side of the right goalpost. Trying to emulate Bailey Fritsch. Was that out of play as the boot got to ball? It's right on the line, Wayne Harms style.
Had some good ones this weekend, haven't we? you mentioned Bailey Fritz last night. Zach Merritt kicked a similar goal in the Essendon West Coast game from the forward pocket. Peter Dacos will be wrapped with that. He's had a very good weekend, of course, after his son's efforts back on Friday night. The Dogs in a hurry, work it all the way up to Darcy, who marks in front of the benches. Sam Darcy. What a player he's going to be and already turning into. Kicks down to half forward. Empty spills the mark. Liver gives it by hand to Baker. Dogs back with it. Hand pass to Treloar. Handball to McRae. Hand pass quickly to Jure against his old team. Kicks deep into the forward pocket. Hands on it from Jamara. No mark. Haven't called his name a heap. Spills to Baker against the boundary line. Baker comes back on the left peg. Kicks inboard. English.
Yeah, great play. Great play.
Proper English as he leaps up and takes the mark. 15 out straight in front. And Oscar Baker with a nice kick back inboard in a dangerous spot, and English snatches that.
Well, I reckon just in Baker's case there, he had a look to go the banana with his left foot, and the big presence of English was surrounded by small Hawthorn players, so it was a no-brainer to put the ball there. It had to be marked, so very, very well thought out by Baker.
And he's kicked one already. The All-Australian ruckman. He's a big man. It's a big goal in the context of the game. The Dogs have kicked the last two, and they're knocking on the door. The Bulldogs move to 8-7-55. Hawthorn, who have played in front for most of the day, 9-9-63. The Hawks lead, which was once 21 points, has been cut to 8. 29 minutes gone in the third term. Brad Saul, Mick Malthouse, ABC Sport.
This quarter's been all one-way traffic, and that's been to the Western Bulldogs. And for their benefit, fortunately, they're starting to do some damage on the scoreboard, Mick. Yeah. Tim English, when he sets himself in a marking contest like that, he's very difficult to beat.
Yeah, well, from all accounts, he was sort of like a ruck rover early days, so he's got this ability to run and work out where to get, and then you'll get this big growth and he becomes the ruckman. So he's actually using those qualities around the ground. He's been very, very effective.
2 goals for the All-Australian ruckman Tim English this afternoon. Back in the middle of the ground. Treloar gets the clearance of the Dogs. Kicks an up and under kick. English has to try and spoil it down to Liberatore. He's worked off it. Trying to knock it out, Adam Treloar. Over the top goes Meek. Newcomb lays a tackle on Liberatore just as the footy looked like it was about to emerge, and the umpire will ball it up in the outer of the centre circles.
Terrific arm wrestle between Tim English and Meek. Meek's second efforts on the ground have been important.
Dying stages of the third quarter. Liberatore got a kick forward, but not before the whistle went. A free kick coming back to the Western Bulldogs, and Tim English is going to take it. So last roll of the dice before three-quarter time. It allows the Hawks to get a number of players back, so English just drives it as high and as long as he can. Darcy sets himself to fly. Ugle-Hagan in from the side. Can't take the mark. Scrimshaw barrels it into the middle of the ground. And the siren sounds at three-quarter time. The Hawks hold an 8-point lead, searching for their second win of the season. But the Dogs are the last 2 goals of the third quarter as Hawthorn hold the advantage. 9-9-63 to the Bulldogs, 8-7-55. For the Hawks, 2 goals to Connor McDonald and to Jack Gunston, individuals to Newcomb, Meek, Weddle, Ward and Deer, while for the Western Bulldogs, 2 goals to English, Norton and Bontempelli, individuals to Ugle-Hagan and Vandermeer.
We've had 3 lead changes, but they all came either side of quarter time on those 3 goals that were kicked either side of it. So the last lead change actually happened in the opening minutes of the second term, and from that point on, it's been all Hawthorn. They led by 21 points midway through that quarter. And the Bulldogs ended the term, though, with the momentum. They've kicked the last 2 goals of the game, and Hawthorn's lead cut to 8. Just repeating the news out of the MRO, so Callum Brown, after his collision yesterday with Tom McCartan, the shoulder of Brown caught the head of McCartan, left him concussed, and as a result, he's been offered 3 weeks by the match review officer. It's come back as careless, severe and high. There's a bunch of fines that have been handed out. Harry Himmelberg for tripping, Toby Green for striking Jake Lloyd, so he gets away with a fine for that. Liam Shields was fined for striking yesterday in the game against St Kilda, and Brady Hoff last night was fined for striking Xavier Dersma. So a couple of fines, and Callum Brown, the big talking point, offered 3 games after his bump on Tom McCartan. Final quarter ahead of us here, and then the Q clash later tonight between the Lions and the Suns. A whole lot of footy still to be played before we close the book on round 8. The thoughts of Brad Saul and Mick Malthouse coming up next. It's Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Sport and Spice brings you the big picture conversations and plenty of fun every week.
So you were peeing in a cup with Messi?
Yeah, basically I saw Messi's pee.
It's like, I call it the race for $1 million.
After the competition, I probably ate like 500 nuggets at least.
I had to like kind of secretly play football and then go off to my basketball game with like a bit of dirt on my knees.
Hosted by me, Declan Byrne and Lavender Bai, listen to Sport and Spice on the ABC Listen app or find it in the Best of ABC Sport folder wherever you get your podcasts.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Newcomb can't gather. Richards for the Dogs. Hand pass to Treloar.
Oh, Treloar's mowed down 2 by Warfel. Got a hand pass away. On the end of it, Connor McDonald kicks a goal on the run. And the Hawks set the tone early in the second half. Great chase down tackle from Warfel. Forces the turnover. And Connor McDonald does the rest. Bramble jams it on the boot at the half-back. Collected by Weddle. Arches the back. Runs away from a couple. Now from 45 out across the body. If you don't mind, Josh Weddle has arrived. Carrying the famous number 23. Josh Weddle with a special on the run. 9 goals to 3 after the first 6 minutes. It's been all Hawthorn, so Norton kicks it to the hot spot. Bontempelli! The skipper floats through and rips it down from the pack. 20 out, 45-degree angle and no problem. As Bontempelli drags the Bulldogs back into it. He's that guy. Spills to Baker against the boundary line. Baker comes back on the left peg, kicks inboard. English!
Yeah, great play. Great play.
Proper English as he leaps up and takes the mark. 15 out straight in front. The All-Australian ruckman. He's a big man. It's a big goal in the context of the game. The Dogs have kicked the last 2. And they're knocking on the door.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Sounds there from the third quarter. 2 goals each after Hawthorn led by 8 points at half-time. They lead by 8 points at three-quarter time as we turn for home. It is Hawthorn 9-9-63 over the Bulldogs 8-7-55. We do have a game to come tonight. It is the Brisbane Lions and the Gold Coast in the annual Q Clash, or twice annual. So we'll take you there for the first of those games following our match here. Mick Malthouse, Brad Sewell, what have you made of it through three quarters? The Hawks by 8.
Entertaining game, Nick. It's been a bit of an arm wrestle at times. Which huddle would you prefer to be controlling right now?
Well, I think that when you're in front, you've got the upper hand of they've got to get it. I'm just looking at the score, 5-1-2. That's the Dogs, each quarter, goals. 4-3-2. That's the Hawks, and that was the big quarter in that, they had 7 goals at half-time. The momentum certainly has shifted, but it's been broken by 6 minutes, and that's significant because, what it's like, Sully, you sort of everything's up and running, then you've got to get back into that. I'm just wondering with a scoreline like it is, can the Dogs, to me, have to kick 4 goals to win this game? The Hawks, 2, and I reckon 2 goals it just stretches the Dogs out to have to chase it. So I'd rather be chasing 2 than 4.
Yep.
Now I know that gives them an 8-point or 10-point victory, but the Dogs have certainly got the momentum, and they've probably got players now entering into it that are going better than what they did. I think English now is a bit of a worry to the Hawks because of his mobility, and Bontempelli has certainly lifted and found a bit of space. Baker coming on has added just another little dimension, even though his kick for goal was horrible, but then he found English too. He's got that speed and ball getting, whereas young Clark he butchered a couple of balls in the far side. First game, expect him to be a bit nervous. But you'd know Mitchell better than me. I'm not sure what his message would be at three-quarter time. Luke Beveridge would be pretty consistent with his.
I guess my concern, feels like the Western Bulldogs got the ability to score much more quickly than Hawthorn do, and Bontempelli, Bulldogs have got more match winners on paper.
Brad Sewell, Mick Malthouse with us on ABC Sport. Final term underway. The Hawks by 8 points as Meek wins the first hit out. Newcomb the first disposal. Hand pass to Day. Gives it to Nash. Handball out wide to Impey. charging off the back flank. He kicks Hawthorn inside the forward arc for the first time in this final term. Jones out to meet it. Spoils away originally, then gets a hand pass straight to Connor McDonald. Hands it to Gunston, short kick to Moore. He marks, he plays on and he goals. It's taken 23 seconds and the Hawks have kicked the first of the final term. Dylan Moore kicks his first of the day and Hawthorn a quick break out the middle and the Bulldogs never saw it. Not a single disposal. Hawthorn 10-9-69. The Bulldogs 8-7-55. Hawks back out by 14 points. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
That is the importance, Mick, of the centre clearance, isn't it? And Hawthorn just managed to chain the ball out from the initial bounce. Got it into Jarman Impey's hands with a long kick at the top of the 50 and just sort of muscled it forward, Hawthorn. Clever kick by Gunston to find Moore. And then Moore to take the space and the goal.
Yeah, it's the worst outcome for the Dogs, as I say, that momentum is stopped by a 6-minute break, and so they have to wrestle that back now and bring the goal back very quickly in the next 5 minutes.
The Hawks lay down the terms. Meek wins down the tap, but it's Liberatore who gets the clearance. Hand pass away to the runner, Bailey Dale. Looks up inside. 50, Ugle-Hagan with the rise. Didn't actually get up that high. It's spoiled away. Jarman Impey taps it towards the boundary line and out of play under the pressure of Ted Richards.
Hasn't done much, has he, Ugle-Hagan today? So
touch it in the third quarter.
Yeah. This is... He's locking himself in very deep, so therefore you're an easier target. Perhaps he's got to come out, give Norton a bit more room, or vice versa, because the Hawks are very disciplined back there.
Just 2 disposals for the match for Jamara Ugle-Hagan as Marcus Bontempelli gets the clearance, kicks inside 50. Up went Scrimshaw, thought he had a good piece of the mark, not paid. It spills out the way of Frost, rolling onto his back. He tried to get boot to ball, couldn't do so. Now it's Finn McGuinness's issue. He's tackled and brought down by Tim English. And a ball up in the left forward pocket for the Bulldogs. Hawthorn by 14 points.
Dogs kick the last 2 of the third quarter. They got a forward 50 stoppage here. English down to Bontempelli. Hand pass to Jamara. Can't trap it. Spills out towards Gallagher, who shoots goalward. Won't get there. Darcy tracks it well. Dropped it last moment. Now has to try and beat the tackle of Weddle. Got a hand pass out. Morrison had it, lost it. Vandermeer clever. Hand pass to Richards. Snaps the goal. And the Dogs answer straight back. A fast start to the final term. A goal each inside the opening 3 minutes. And Hawthorn back to an 8-point advantage as the Dogs wipe off 6 there. 9-7-61, Hawthorn 10-9-69. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. We got a good one going late. Brad Sewell, Mick Moldhouse.
Well, certainly a minute and a half of actual time's gone, and so what we said before, we were talking about how many goals we think the Dogs or the Hawks would need. Well, what's now been wiped out, but the time is now reduced by a minute and a half of actual time. So the time, it mightn't sound much at the moment, but it does become a factor if it's in a low-scoring game. This is not a high-scoring... it looked like in the first quarter, but from there on in, it's just been really dogged. So it's back to square one, minus a minute and a half.
It feels like it's psychological, doesn't it, for the Bulldogs at the moment? Hawthorn trying to give as good as they've got. English wins down the tap. Liberatore on the charge. Gets it forward to Bontempelli. The class involved to Vandermeer, who steadies from 45 and slams through another. The Bulldogs with a couple of quick goals, and Latham Vandermeer finishes with his second. And that lead goes from 14 to 8 to 2 inside 4 minutes of this final term. The Hawks 10-9-69 to the Bulldogs 10-7-67.
Matt, you know, it's 18 minutes and 22 seconds. So if that 20 minutes, you know, I always say to my players, don't worry about the time on. It's the actual time. It's not even 2 minutes. We've had 3 scoring shots, all goals, from how many possessions have we had so far this quarter? It's been quite remarkably low for a 3. Well, this is the first quarter revisited. What have we had? 23 shots, 23 possessions for 3 goals. So this won't last.
It's a different game, isn't it?
Well, it won't last, and now it's going to become a real trench warfare, I reckon.
Momentum with the Dogs. They've kicked 4 of the last 5 either side of three-quarter time. English wins it down. More at the coalface. Hand pass away towards Meek. He's tackled, taken to ground.
I think English is going to become a real, outside of his ruck work, but around the ground will be the biggest problem for the Hawks.
Vandermeer kicked the first of the day. He's got the last to bring the Dogs back within 2 points. They haven't led since the 5-minute mark of the second quarter. We're now 5 minutes into the fourth.
no loose players there, just quietly.
And Meek palms it down to Newcomb, tackled, and again we'll get another stoppage middle of the ground. Both subs made in the third. Charlie Clark subbed out on debut, and Cam McKenzie for Hawthorn. So Watson and Baker into the game. Both tactical, so no injury concerns there.
Thrown in the air, Meek wins down the tap. Treloar tries to volley it forward. Got it to Garcia. Hand pass to Williams. Inside 50. Ugelhagen caught behind against Frost. A free kick for a hold. Ugelhagen will put it through, but it should be a Hawthorn free kick, and that'll mean 50. So Jamari Ugelhagen, who hasn't touched it in the second half, he's now conceded a 50-metre penalty as well. And Sam Frost will be taken from the defensive 50 into the middle of the ground. And the Bulldogs fans don't like it, but it's hard to argue. Frost chips it out to Scrimshaw on the bounce. He has to work it around Harms. Set hard with the challenge. Tackled by Garcia. Turns it over. Vandermeer to Norton. They're downhill now. Hand pass back to Vandermeer. Hand pass too slick for Garcia. And Scrimshaw slides in for Hawthorn. Hand pass back to Jarman Impey. Kicks out to Moore, who can mark centre wing on the outer side.
Overuse hand pass again. The Dogs.
Sicily's playing up front. The kick goes in his direction. Gets to it around his bootlaces. Turns, heads inside 50. Finds Gunston. James Sicily has been in the wars today. He's had a sore ankle, a sore shoulder. Both of them had strapping applied on the run. And now he started this final term in the forward 50, and that is superb link-up play with the Hawthorn veteran Jack Gunston.
Well, what about the play with Sicily? If he's dislocated that shoulder and come back on and an ankle, that's been amazing.
The wise old vet to settle it down for the Hawks. Not quite. Misses near side, and his wayward kicking season continues for Jack Gunston. Another behind, 10-10 to 10-7. Hawthorn by 3, 7 played in the last.
Oh, Dale into Portobelli, back to Dale, almost ran into Moore and Watson. Gets the hand pass away, clearing kick by O'Donnell up to the wing. Jarman Impey gets it down to McInnes for Hawthorn. Hand pass to Nash, dodging and weaving, found an avenue forward, drives it inside 50. Deer! The youngster's up and takes the mark. In the right forward pocket. A chance for Kalsha Deer to kick his second goal of the match, and what a time it would be.
What a mark.
He has looked terrific.
Well, he hasn't looked out of place.
No, he hasn't, has he?
Well, he's just... And the thing I like about him, he's aggressive in the air.
He is.
He was. They could have been left for a number of players. No, that's me. I'm going.
He's, of course, Dad, the 1991 North Smith medalist, with a left footer. Kalsha is a right footer. Slightly right of centre, 35 metres out to extend the Hawthorn lead once more. Kalsha Deer comes in and misses as he leans back and just scrapes it in for a behind to the right-hand side. It's a 4-point lead Hawthorn's way. 8 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
Just seems, Sully, that if you can't get the ball out of your back line, you're inviting trouble all the time. The Dogs' idea is just don't muck around with it.
Oh, Hawks by 4. Dangerous kick. Johannison trying to hit English. Not a good kick. Intercepted. Connor McDonald makes him pay. Hawthorn put it back out to 10 points. And Connor McDonald's breakout season rolls on. He's got 3 today. And the Hawks are out by 10 points at the 9-minute mark of the final term. And Jason Johannison, right on cue, commits a big error in the defensive 50 on the kick-out. Hawthorn 11-11-77. The Western Bulldogs 10-7-67. A 10-point lead for the Hawks. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
How's that for a coach killer, Mick?
I was going to say, how would you handle that, Mick?
Oh, well, I just said, that's the last thing you want is in a pressured game to turn the ball over in your back 50, especially when the umpires are so liberal in how far you can run the ball out and kick the football. It's this game has been won and lost so far by where you get the football from. So you've got to clear your back half. That's where the mistakes are made. They're not good enough to clear them. So get it out of there as quick as you can.
I'd imagine Johannison's keen to stay away from the bench because the foam might be coming his way. Back in the middle of the ground. Meek can't win down the tap. McRae for the Dogs. Hand pass to Harms under pressure. Charging in Newcomb. Tries to wrestle with the footy. Over the top of it is McRae, and the umpire will ball it up just short of centre half forward for the Hawks. 11-11-77 to the Bulldogs 10-7-67. 10 minutes gone, final term on ABC Sport. Hawthorn with just the 1 win so far this season over North Melbourne. Meek got it down to Nash, kicks inside 50, in front Deer. Was he impeded? He was! And the youngster will get another look at it, this time from the left forward pocket. He's around 40 metres out from goal.
Good positioning by Deer to be playing in front. Yeah. Connor Nash is tracking Bontempelli around those stoppages and just managed to push Bontempelli into the congestion, allowing Nash some room outside.
O'Donnell with the arm over the shoulder. And Kalshadir with a second chance to try and extend the Hawthorn lead. He starts his approach outside 50. The slow build-up. The debutant for his second. Starts it right. Bends it back left. And sends it straight through the middle. The family club with a big statement by the youngster. Playing in his dad's honour. And Hawthorn lead by 16 points. 12-11-83 to the Bulldogs, 10-7-67. They throw down the challenge to the Bulldogs with 3-2 in the final term.
Fantastic finish. Deer, he learnt from his previous set shot, and that one just swung inside. Some real excitement and enthusiasm there amongst Hawthorn too, which is great to see.
The biggest roar of the day?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, when kids do it,
yeah, it is.
It's an add-on, and when it's a kid from a former player, you know, I've been anti father sons because I just think it's too restrictive in the draft. But when you see it, you know, clearly supporters don't forget.
Absolutely. Kalshadir on debut at 18 years of age, the youngest man on the ground. Big time goal puts the Hawks back out by 16. Dogs in the middle. Harms, hand pass away to McRae. Gives it to the Bond. Kicks inside 50. They need Jamara to stand up. Grabs it, tackled, lost it. Richards hooks it to the goal square. Darcy. And a Dogs father-son at the other end. Marks in the goal square.
He doesn't have to rush this. He's going back as if he's got seconds to play.
He moves in. He pops it through. And the third generation Bulldog at the other end goals to bring the Dogs back into it. 12 gone final term. Hawthorn's lead cut to 10. The Bulldogs 11-7-73. Hawthorn 12-11-83. And there's a whole lot of footy to be played yet. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Mick Moldhouse, Brad Sewell.
Well, can I just jump in there, Corby? I think Matt called one end and you call the other. Two father-sons kicking goals in the same match. In the last quarter, dragging it back to a 10-point difference. It's just quite remarkable.
Average age of 19.
And look at their size. They're destined for, 10, 12, 14 years of football, because one thing you don't do is you don't get smaller.
195 centimetres for Deer, 208 for Sam Darcy.
208?
Yep. He'd be a ruckman in any other generation. He's playing full forward at the moment for the Bulldogs. English wins down the tap. Liberatore over the top of the footy. The players dive on top of him, including Lloyd Meek. And the umpire will board up in the outer of the centre circles. It's a shootout all of a sudden in the final term. Hawthorn by 10 points. Meek wins down the tap. Warfel brushes the tackle of Liberatore. Tries to get it to Newcomb. Rocked on by Bontempelli to Garcia inside 50. Ugle-Hagan gets his moment. He marks out to the right. 45 metres out from home. He's had a quiet afternoon.
Momentum's so hard to stop from those centre bounces when the Bulldogs
surge.
When it's that surge mentality, Mick, you're exactly right. And Hawthorn had their hands on the ball, but they're running away from goal.
Yeah.
Just takes a little fumble for a loose ball, and all of a sudden, Bulldogs have got a shot on goal.
Just the two disposals for this afternoon. Jamara Ugle-Hagan back after personal lead to give the Bulldogs their bites. He comes in and nails it. Ugle-Hagan with his second. Having kicked his first in the opening quarter. And the Dogs are back within 4 points. Every question has an answer at the moment. 12-11-83 the Hawks to the Bulldogs 12-7-79. 14 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport. The thoughts of Mick Moldhouse and Brad Sewell.
Well, we're just talking about that surge, Sully. I was so impressed in Hawthorn's ability just to maul the Dogs going forward and just keep taking the ground off them. I watched Collingwood do it to Carlton on Friday night, where they just pushed them back. This is very similar, and it depends on who's controlling the ball. If you've got the football, you're getting mauled and pushed back. So if you're nice and clean, then, and that's what happened here, the Dogs were clean enough to break and get the ball inside their front 50.
He's had 3 kicks, Mara. He's kicked 2 goals, 1, so at least he's cashing in when it's come his way. Meek down towards Moore, kicks out to the wing, it's broken up by Baker, clever, slaps it on, Wayne Harms-esque, out towards Garcia, to McRae, the footy's coming back.
Well, this should be against the Dogs.
Oh.
Well, he dived on the ball.
Okay, it's going against Baker. He slapped that out, and what did he call contact below the knees?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yep, free kick for Moore, so slid in, dangerous below the knee on Dylan Moore, and a free kick for the Hawks in the middle of the ground.
We admire courage, but you cannot take someone's legs out. There's too much damage can be done to legs. To your knees.
They've kicked 6 of the last 9 goals, the Bulldogs, having fallen behind by 21. They're back within 4. 15 and a half gone final term. The crowd posted at a tick under 30,000, so 29,555 for Sunday footy at Docklands. 2 games in Melbourne. Earlier, the Dockers by 9 goals over the Tigs at the G, and we've still got the Q clash to come. Here's Hardwick, kicks down to half forward, and English, the All-Australian ruckman, takes the intercept mark. Half back for the Bulldogs. 16 gone final term. Hawthorn by 4 points.
He's been fantastic, English.
He's called to play on. English kicks it long around the wing. Norton tries to fly in front. Hardwick brings it down. Garcia front and centre for the Dogs. Hand pass out in front of Baker. Can he reel it in inside the boundary? He can. Tackle by Impey. Hacks a kick towards Norton, who rises and takes the mark over the top of Watson.
All these 50-50 contests getting won by the Bulldogs at the moment.
Well, that's where Norton...
Momentum.
Yeah, Norton's got to come out from 50, so it's good.
He's still 80 metres out from goal. Puts it in the direction of Bontempelli. It clears the pack. At the back, Eamon had it knocked on. Can Williams get a boot to it? He can! From only metres out, and the Bulldogs are in front. Hawthorn will be wondering where were the defenders on the last line. And just able to will it forward, the Dogs, and Bailey Williams able to finish. The Bulldogs lead by 2 points, 13-7-85 to Hawthorn, 12-11-83. 3 goals in the last 4 minutes.
Really poor defensively by Hawthorn. To let the ball track over the back like that without...
Well, they had 2 players there,
a fingernail on it. And then just a bit lax on the goal line.
I think you've been really harsh. I thought Hawthorn had the right 2 players there. It was Richards who come in and disrupted the ball, which knocked the Hawthorn player out of the contest. So, it's I think it's just probably good play by both sides, and it was a luck. In the end, he only got his toe to it.
Morrison left it for Carl Amon, and in the end, it was only Bailey Williams who made it work the most.
6-6-6 warning against the Hawks. They've kicked 5 goals in this final term, the Bulldogs, having fallen behind by 21 points late in the third. Warple gets a hurried kick out towards half forward. Knocked on by Day. Or falling over Baker. Left the footy behind. Knocks it out towards Ginnivan. On the run from 50. Sicily deep. Got a hand on it as it bounces through for a behind. And the Bulldogs lead is cut to a solitary point. The Dogs by 1. 18 gone final term. And there's still more than half the quarter to play on the game clock. 11 and a half minutes. A lot of footy left yet. Momentum with the Dogs. They lead it by 1. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
5 goals this quarter. It's just quite remarkable to... 3.
Opened up.
Yep, so we had 17 goals to three-quarter time. We've had 8 in 18 minutes.
But this, what got the Dogs going was movement. If they're going to slow it down, as you say, Corby...
They started surging the ball forward a little bit too, just allowed them to run onto it with their numbers.
Well, that's right, and they're catching Hawthorn out, who are probably used to.
All of a sudden, the stakes have risen to desperation levels. Jones turns it over. Scrimshaw for the Hawks. Kicks to McDonald. Sicily wants it deep to the goal square. Connor McDonald swings onto his right. Ginnivan's free. And he'll mark in the left forward pocket. And this is his sort of occasion. Deep in the left forward pocket, 25 metres out from goal. Jack Ginnivan in his 50th game. A chance to put the Hawks back in front.
Well, without knowing the stats, Mick, or seeing him, scores from turnover seem to be where Hawthorn are doing their damage.
Yeah.
Western Bulldogs just biting off a little bit too much at times, and Hawthorn have been good in transition on the rebound.
Exactly.
Jack Ginnivan, a couple of deep breaths. He'll look to step out and snap onto his right. He opens up the angle and curls it through. Every eye on number 33 as Jack Ginnivan, just the way he likes it, puts Hawthorn back in front by 5 points. He's never far from the spotlight. 13-12-90 the Hawks to the Bulldogs 13-7-85. A cliffhanger here at Docklands in round 8.
Today's players do that really well, don't they, Mick? That snap from that position of the ground. It's composed, it's measured, it's very deliberate, and more often than not, it's a goal.
Yeah, the percentages will be very, very high. Sully, I know the annoying thing sitting up here is that when you start to score and you see the methods of how you score, and then you revert back when you get in front and you start to go slow again, well, it's inevitable that the quality of players around and the quality of players who intercept, and that's exactly what took place. The Dogs control the ball and gave it up. Hawthorn on the rebound, catch everyone out.
Lead swinging on the last 2 goals as Darcy hooks it down to McRae, kicks inside 50, courageous. Impey had the drop back in front of Jamara, takes the intercept mark, centre half back for the Hawks, and immediately says let's trot as he kicks hurriedly out towards Moore, who marks on the boundary line City side. So the interesting part here that we've ticked into time on at the ground, and yet we're only just past the 10-minute mark on the game clock, so a lot of footy to be played. A lot of time left in the match as Impey goes down towards half forward. Off hands it reaches Darcy. He's tackled to ground. He thought he'd taken it as well. The ump says no. Was touched on the way through, and we got a ball up just inside the boundary line. City side between wing and half forward for the Hawks. Ginnivan with the last goal in the game to put Hawthorn back on top. The Hawks by 5.
Thrown up, Nash wins down the tap. It spills the way of Oscar Baker of the Bulldogs. Up the wing, Norton comes charging out. Scrimshaw sat underneath. He's cannon into. Spills out the way of Moore. Gets the hand pass away. Links up with Impey. Kicks out to right half forward. And Dylan Moore gets on the end of it.
Impey's been magnificent in his defence. Really, really sharp. Courageous. Good use.
Turns inboard to Warple. Hawthorn by 5 points. The Bulldogs with 5 straight in this final term as Warple kicks as far as he can. Where are the Flyers? Deer is in the pack. Spills down to McInnes against the boundary. Hand pass to Sicily. He was over the line in the eyes of the boundary umpire. A throw in the right forward pocket for the Hawks. Hawthorn by 5 points.
Who wins it, Sully?
I'm going to say Hawthorn, hold on.
Nick?
Dogs.
Richie?
Dogs.
Yeah, I'll go on your side. Sully. Yeah. And see what we get here. The Hawks by 5. Stoppage deep forward. It's whacked back out of play. Rory Campbell's with us on the boundary. Might be able to break our tie. Who wins from here, Rory?
I've got to go with the Dogs, I think.
There we go. 3-2. Game on the line right here. Still over 9 or just under 9 minutes of actual game time to be played. The count-up clock at the ground is at 22.5 minutes. Hawthorn by 5. From the boundary throw-in. Comes down to Moore. He's tackled, lost it. Treloar fighting through, and then Liberatore somehow extracts it for the Bulldogs. Dale, hand pass away to Baker. Kicks out of the defensive 50. Norton with strength. Gets rid of Scrimshaw. Pack forms behind him. Hawthorn player on the bottom of the pack. Up lets them go. The footy comes out. Nash hands it away to Amon. There's a free for a high tackle. It's a Bulldogs kick. Gallagher's going to get it on the back flank. Hawthorn by 5, 23 gone in the last.
They're on the break here. He kicks out in front of McRae. He has Scrimshaw in front of him. Draws him. Hand pass over the top to Norton. Left half forward. Long kick. Ugelhagen sets himself. Day gets back. Cannon into by Weddle. Spills to Ugelhagen. Too slow. Tackle by Nash. Hardwick with a clearing kick. Out towards Jarman Impey at halfback. It bounces end over end. Ginnivan charges onto it. He chips it backwards. Good idea as he works it to McInnes. And he marks it right halfback. Hawthorn by 5 points. 23 minutes gone, final term. Both sides just starting to get a little bit more desperate. McInnes around the boundary line. Out of side, looks for Deer. Jones makes the spoil. He's made that so well tonight. Gets it to Dale. Back to Treloar on the wing. Bramble cuts around Watson. Hand pass away to Treloar. Looks up to half forward. Richards a target. Weddle makes the spoil. It pinballs out to DeRay. Can't get a hand pass away. Sliding in Ginnivan. Knocks it out to Weddle. Outside of the boot. Kicks away. English is underneath it. Knocks it away from Deer. But straight to Warple. Gets it forward. Sicily's out. He gathers. Hand pass to Watson. He misses him. He gathers. Kicks up the outside of the boot. And the Hawks have the lead. He's missed. He has missed to the left-hand side. Nick Watson, I thought he put it through. The goal umpire went jagging to his right. It's what could have been. Hawthorn by 6 points.
Incredible. That was a certain goal. It never quite eventuated for the Hawks. As Impey manages to take an intercept mark off the O'Donnell exiting kick out of the defensive arc, and everyone wearing brown and gold says let's all just take a deep breath. Impey reloads, kicks inside 50, punched away by the Dogs. Loose footy centre half forward for the Hawks, picked up by Hardwick. Hardwick almost mowed down. Got a hand pass away. Loose footy half forward for the Hawks. Warp all over the top of it. Dogs numbers jump in. Pack forms at a ball up 55 out from the Hawks goal.
One goal difference in it, yeah.
Oh, the Wizard Watson could have put it out to an 11-point lead for the Hawks. Instead, a miss from the top of the goal square. No one in front of him. 25 gone in the last. Hawthorn by 6.
More inside 50. Teray was brought down. Watson lays the tackle on Joe Hannison. The umpire will board up in the right forward pocket. So he missed the Watson Wizard. Can you be a wizard if you miss from 10 metres out?
Yeah, somehow you miss. Takes a wizard's effort to miss.
The Hawks have got someone behind the ball. Dogs have got to be careful how they bring the ball out, so it'll just come straight back at them.
Might make him a muggle.
Yes, Ashwin's down the tap. McRae with a hand pass to Bramble. Up towards half-back. Richardson. Hardwick, it clears the 2. Desperation now as Impey lays the tackle. It's stuck underneath Joe Hannison. Trying to knock it out. It comes the way of Harms. Hand pass to Treloar. McRae at half-back. Kicks the Bulldogs around the wing. Ugelhagen comes charging out. Spoil made by Day. Scrimshaw kicks it laterally and McGuinness takes the mark.
That's that extra player, and he's so handy. I think the Dogs, if they want to win this game, they're going to have to marry up the extra player, because having an extra player behind to save the game, they're not in front. So,
oh gee, they retreat back through Weddle. Frost drops a mark at centre half back, has time to clean it up. Hawks by 6 points. The kick comes wide to Connor McDonald, who's had a career day. 3 goals for the first time for him. We've had 2 games already this weekend decided by 6 points. The Pies beating the Blues, and then Essendon over West Coast last night by the same margin. Long kick down the line. Deer flies for it, no mark, hits the deck, spills to Sicily, who's played the final term up front. Hand pass to Ward, kicks inside 50, Watson pushed onto it, releases a handball, desperate Duray. Great work for the Dogs. Gives it away to Jones, kicks down the boundary line. Dale and Newcomb bang bodies and the ball spits out of play. We have 5 minutes left. Hawthorn lead the game by 6 points. The Hawks 13-13, the Bulldogs 13-7. A match Hawthorn led by 21 at one stage. The Dogs led by 18 themselves. There have been 5 lead changes, 2 in the final term. The Hawks by 6.
Ugelhagen was coming from the ground. He turns around. He stays at centre half forward. Bontempelli tries to get a forward kick to Ugelhagen. On all fours trying to knock it out. Scrimshaw over the top of him. It's on the AFL logo broadcast side. Umpire circles. Eventually we'll have to ball it up. Hawthorn by 6 points. 13-13-91. The Bulldogs 13-7-85. The Hawks chasing their second win of the season. Thrown up. Meek tries to tap it down. Knocked out by Liberatore. Gets it away to Williams. Hand pass to Treloar. Up towards half forward. Coming out. The mark is taken. Out left half back as Blake Hardwick hugs it to his chest.
That's that +1 again. I know he was one-on-one, but the Hawks have got the extra player. I can't even find the Dogs player.
28 minutes gone, final term, up towards Meek and English. English couldn't hang on to the mark. Ginnivan front and centre, hand pass to Morrison. He's taken over and across, and a boundary throw in front of where Kalsha Deer is getting some treatment. The debutant with a couple of goals next to his name.
He's the longest serving coach in the history of the game, Mick. You know all about these fine margins in footy and the difference it can make to your week. If the Dogs go 3-5, what it'll mean for Luke Beveridge and for Sam Mitchell, a chance to reinforce what they're building if they can get their second win here. As Newcomb, hand pass to Meek, releases more, plenty of space, high half forward, kicks it deep to Sicily, one out the cage, Sicily marks! He beats Calamus hands down in a one-on-one. Sicily's got it, left forward pocket for the Hawks, with a chance to put it beyond one straight kick.
Well, I just couldn't believe when I saw Jones run down the back half. I thought he was a certainty to go to Sicily, but he went to Gunston, and they played a penalty, the Dogs. Bad matchup, really bad matchup.
To settle down the heart rate, Sicily snaps. He's kicked it. It's a captain's goal the Hawks needed. It's a goal that puts them 2 kicks clear. Half-hour mark in the final term. Hawthorn by 12 points. Spare a thought for Luke Beveridge at the controls and his Bulldogs. They've got 3.5 minutes to try and rip this out the fire. Hawthorn by 12 points. Half-hour mark, final term. Brad Saul and Mick Moldhouse on ABC Sport.
Corby, Clinchy, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time Mitchell swung Sicily forward this year.
Yeah, I think so. It's certainly in all the games I've seen of it.
Yeah, fantastic move. It's been generally Hardwick, but Sicily's probably a better player one-on-one, and when they've been able to get the ball played in their half, and for him to have a genuine one-on-one contest like that, Moore read it well out of the clearance. Meek, another contested ball win to find more out of that clearance. Fantastic piece play from Hawthorn. Watch Bontempelli in their centre bounce now.
3:29 to go. The Hawks are the last 2 goals of the match. Have they done enough? Englishman's down the tap. Liberatore one way, Dale the other. Nash tries to knock it out for the Hawks. And a chance for Treloar. A free kick, a hold. And it'll go the Hawks' way as Libber's down. Connor Nash will get the free kick.
Nash has been good in the clinches. Big body.
So they try and soak some seconds off the clock here. He chips it laterally and Day takes the mark. Now they might have to stop play here. Liver has not moved.
Yeah, I don't know what sort of injury it is.
Day goes short to Ward. He drops the mark. A chance for the Dogs here. Bramble trying to break the tackle. Hand pass to Norton. Through the middle of the ground to Richards. Liver's still down. Richards looks inside 50. Harms was the deepest target. Kicks out in front of he and Hardwick. Hardwick taps it towards the boundary line. Harms gathers. Gets the hand pass away to Baker. Kick is smothered by McGuinness. Baker sharks it forward. Can't get it to Richards. Bounces off Scrimshaw. Nowhere to go for Gallagher. He's locked up by Scrimshaw. And Nash and the umpire will ball it up. 40 metres out from the Hawks' goal.
He's got blood streaming from his face. Tom Liberatore inadvertently was kicked in the head. It sort of looks like Matthew Knights after his old man got hold of him all those years ago. There is blood pouring from his face. More from Rory in just a moment. The Dogs win it at the source here. Treloar to the Bont. Kicks to centre half forward. Bailey Williams, 3 seconds in the final term. Drives it straight through. We are not done yet. With 2 minutes and change to go, Bailey Williams brings his Dogs back within a kick. Hawthorn by 6 points, 32 gone final term. And we got a humdinger under the roof at Docklands. Hawthorn 14-13-97. The Bulldogs move to 14-7-91. Hawthorn by 6 points. Brad Saul, Mick Moldhouse on ABC Sport.
Well, it's again, it's just a tumble of who wins the stoppage, what do you do with it? We've seen one down here where it went to Sicily, this one here went to Williams, again from Treloar out to hand pass out to Bontempelli. No, he's not going to waste the football. So 2 minutes, well, we've seen goals score within 15, 16 seconds, so I wouldn't be counting the Dogs out, but any score the Hawks get, they'll win the game.
Back in the middle, so much to play for. English wins down the tap. Tay after it for the Hawks. Spills out to Meek. Tackled by Bontempelli. They all dive on top of it and the umpire will ball it up. Just over 2 minutes to go in this clash. Hawthorn by 6 points. Don't adjust your dial on ABC Sport. Meek tries to tap it down. Bontempelli gathers. Hand pass to Richards. Every moment is desperate. Up towards Ugle-Hagan. He almost juggled the mark. A free kick for a hold. And Jamara has it. Pretty much directly in front, 45 metres out from goal.
Well, he's gone back far. His first kick he did when he missed today, he went back about 6 steps. He's gone back 26 this time.
These two sides have played in 2 draws across the journey. Footy in the hands of Jamara Ugle-Hagan to draw them level. He comes in and flares it out to the left and hits the behind post. Out of bounds on the full. The top of the left behind post, and Hawthorn fans take a deep breath. Hawks by 6 points.
No, he rushed it. He just went, didn't he?
Bulldogs have to man up here. They can't afford to let Hawthorn get a mark.
Hawks by 6 points. The clearing kick out to half-back. Karmas thumps it into the front row. It's out of bounds. Liberatore off the ground. He was inadvertently kicked. I think it was Connor Nash who was trying to get up. They were in other directions, and the boot ended up hitting Libber in the face, busted him wide open. He's got cuts on his forehead and had blood streaming out, and hopefully there's nothing more serious than that when it comes to concussion. We know his battles recently. Mysteriously collapsed on this ground 3 weeks ago, making his return today after illness kept him out in Perth. From the boundary throw-in, game on the line here, final 2 minutes, Hawks by 6. Newcomb, hand pass away to Sicily. He's tackled and a ball up. High half forward for the Bulldogs, 70 out from their attacking goal. Clock stops, 72 seconds remain. Hawthorn by 6 points.
Thrown up in the air. English and Meek. Meek wins it down. Garcia on the move. Can't knock it out. Has a second go. A chance for Nash. Hand pass to Sicily. Links up with Finn McGuinness. Looks up around the wing. Watson's the only option. Brought down by Williams. Got it down to Jones. He's tackled, lost it. Dylan Moore gathers. Dribbles it up towards McDonald. Out of play, not a bad result. He's corralled by Bramble. Cuts back on his left. Kicks a high ball inside 50. Out in front of Morrison. Bounces in front of him and Gallagher. Newcomb gathers. Hand pass to Morrison. Tries to break the tackle. Hand pass to Amon. He takes on the tackler. He's locked up. 30 metres out from goal. Carl Amon was happy to take the tackle from Leith Vandermeer. Hawthorn have it inside their forward 50, leading by 6.
Should have just handballed it through for a score.
Yeah.
Just put them 7 clear and lock up the game. Hawthorn by 6. Forward 50 stoppage. Garcia had it, lost it. The Hawks through Ginnivan, grabs it. He's tackled. We'll do it all again.
That's a win for Hawthorn. It's got to keep it locked in here now. Make it a scrum.
Well, they've got that many behind the ball. It's like they've got half the crowd there.
26 seconds to go. Hawthorn by 6 points. Forward 50 stoppage. The Wizard Watson charges through. He's crushed in a heavy tackle, and the ump says I'll have it. And a ball up 20 metres out from the Hawks attacking goal. Hawthorn by 6 points. 35 and a half minutes gone in the final term.
Last roll of the dice for the Dogs. Meek wins down the tap. Johannesson with a little toe poke. Every moment is desperate. Newcomb lays the tackle. It's locked up inside the forward 50. And we'll do it all once more. 36 minutes gone in the final term. Thrown in the air. Meek taps it down. Newcomb through traffic. Tackled by Bontempelli. Out in front of Sicily. Volleys it off Trelaw. It'll bounce through from behind. Hawthorn by 7 points as the siren sounds. And a famous win for the Hawks. Their second win of the season. A massive upset at Docklands as the Hawks win by 7 over the Western Bulldogs.
We're the mighty fighting Hawks. We love our club and we play to win. Riding the bucks with a grin at Hawthorn. Come on, may you find us riding. Teamwork is the thing that talks. One for all and one for one, the way we play at Hawthorn.
The Bulldogs led by 5 points at quarter time, Hawthorn by 8 at half time, the Hawks by 8 at 3/4 time, and then a shootout in the final term. The Hawks prevailing by 7 points, 14-14-98 to the Bulldogs 14-7-91. The Hawks are their second win of the season, and there's going to be a lot of attention on the Bulldogs this week. For the winners, 3 goals to Connor McDonald, 2 to Gunston, 2 to Deer, individuals to Ginnivan, Newcomb, Meek, Moore, Sicily, Ward and Weddle. While for the Western Bulldogs, 2 to Ugelhagen, 2 to Williams, 2 to Bontempelli, 2 to English and 2 to Norton, and Vandermeer with 2 as well. Individuals to Darcy, Richards for the Dogs. The Hawks, 7-point winners under the roof in front of 30,000.
Teamwork is the thing that talks. One for all and all for one, the way we play at Hawthorn. We are the mighty fighting Hawks.
Sam Mitchell said last week he couldn't question the effort in a 76-point loss to the Swans. A week later, they're singing the song. Hawthorn winners by 7 points over the Western Bulldogs.
Amazing, the turnaround in the space of 7 days. It was the heaviest defeat of the season so far from any team. A 76-point drubbing, and what a swing. 83 points back the other way, and a 7-point victory for the Hawks today. 5 lead changes, 2 of them in the final quarter, and the young Hawks, a happy team today. They get their second victory of the year, while for the Bulldogs, there's a whole lot to pull apart on that front. They have now lost 4 of their last 5 games. We had opposition players this week questioning the harmony at the kennel, and for the Dogs, they won't be too happy with this result. 3-5. 7-point loss to a team well and truly in development mode. Mick Moldhouse, Brad Sewell make sense of all of that. A fun afternoon at the footy. 11 goals in the final term. The Dogs went 6 straight. Hawthorn went 5-5. And in the end, the team that was in front for most of the day, the Hawks, prevail by 7 points.
Well, I'll take my hat off to the Hawks. Right across the ground, their back line with the extra worked well. Even the last quarter, they still had 10 shots on goal. I think they kicked 5 to 6 straight.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the inside 50s were for the whole game, but whatever it was, the Hawks
basically even. 49-48.
So the Hawks made more of their opportunities. I know you could say that there's a few contributing things. So even the last kick of Hugo Hagen hits the point post. He was off, but I know he's kicked 2 goals, but he was off for most of the game, and in terms of off as in being instrumental. The Hawks impressed with Bullock. They never allowed the Dogs to settle. I thought Sicily as a leader, if he has dislocated that shoulder and come back on, that is just a remarkable effort. If he hasn't had that before, because sometimes when it's come out before, you get used to it, you know what to do. But that plus an ankle, thoroughly deserved. I know who had the most at stake. The Dogs really, when you analyse the ladder, that's put them when the top 4 of the top 8 lost games over the weekend. Then you're going to make up ground on them, but they haven't been. Well, you know, the hunger. I'm not going to say the hunger wasn't there, but the hunger for Hawthorn was very evident.
They've also lost games to Fremantle and Essendon, teams in that mid-table treadmill that are trying to take their spot. You can't lose to the teams in development mode down the bottom. Sawley, you commented on it during the call. The move from Sam Mitchell, and I know there's a lot of focus on him. He probably cops unfair criticism when they lose, and he gets disproportionate credit when they win, but he moved Sicily forward, and in the end it turned out to be a huge move in the context of the game.
Yeah, I think so. He's shown a propensity to swing the magnets at time, Mitch, and that's something we don't often see these days. And so to have created a swingman out of Hardwick with great effect, and then today to have had the courage to move Sicily forward when he did in that last quarter. Sicily to have taken that genuine one-on-one mark and finish and kick the goal, but he'd also had an impact in other contests earlier in that quarter as well. So, I mean, that's going to be... There's one of 2 stories to come out of today's game, and the first being Hawthorn's effort and a terrific win, but the second being the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Where are they at? And Bevo and the Bulldogs have been under some heat throughout the year, and I feel like it's really starting to build, and it will continue to build certainly after today.
Well, I'll ask this question, and I'll ask your view, Sully. Like, if you're watching the game up here, you've sat in the coach's box, so you know what you've got 3 line coaches just looking at, and I always used to say to my line coaches, don't worry about the rest of it, just watch your players, see if they're doing the right thing. Don't get sucked into watching goals or other things. When you see a player run on and Sicily goes forward, and we know he's got great strength, he's got great capabilities, and then I watch Jones run on, I'm thinking, Jones will go to him surely. Then he peels off and he goes and picks up Gunston. I'm thinking, who's got control? I know that runners sometimes are so restricted these days, but the first thing in my mind would be put Jones, who's a good one-on-one player, on the obvious good one-on-one player.
Your on-field leaders should see that, and your defensive captain, if you like, of the back 6.
Yeah, that should maybe Jonesy should have seen that. But soon as I should have said on air. Because it just, to me, it just said, well, here we go. This is going to be dangerous, this thing.
So Sicily scored Hawthorn's last 7 points. And in the end, it's the gap in the game, 14 to 14-7. So they win by 7. The Q Clash is coming up next, the 26th edition between the Brisbane Lions and the Gold Coast Suns. Brad Sewell alongside Mick Moldhouse, Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch. Rory Campbell is in the winner's room, so we'll get down to him in just a moment when the Hawks make their way in. You were with us last Sunday, Sewell. It was a tough watch as a Hawthorn person. We'll get to the Dogs, but just on Hawthorn, what changed so dramatically from one week to the next? What did you observe today?
Ooh, well, you know, if we take the message from the Hawthorn camp last week, their effort was good. Well, their effort seemed better this week, and they just played with a little bit more composure. To have given up the first 3 goals effectively without touching the ball and then to grind their way back from there is a really good effort. So. You know, by all reports, they've had their mouth guards at training for the last couple of weeks. We've seen the results of that today, and it was a really gutsy win. And you might argue that the major difference was the opposition by comparison to last week. Sydney are a very, very good team.
There was a resolve, though, wasn't there? You look at that move at 3/4 time. Hawthorn led by 8 points. Sam Mitchell knew he couldn't just hang on to that lead. They had to win the game.
Yeah.
And then it emerged a shootout. And as the match progressed, it felt like Hawthorn was the more attacking of the 2 sides at various stages. This is not the side that, has taken 50 marks in a quarter when they're trying to withhold a team imposing maximum damage on them.
It's amazing they give up 18 points before you can blink in the first 6 minutes, but then fell behind twice more, once in the second quarter and once in the last quarter. So as a young team to be headed on multiple occasions and then still come back to win it in the fashion they did, gee, that's a good win today for the Hawks. And the Bulldogs, as you touched on, it's equally as bad for them. 3-5 on the season now, having lost 4 of their last 5 games. And Kel Shadir's just spotted a bunch of his mates and his family in the front row that have come down to meet him down there, and he's getting an enormous hug from his loved ones on debut today. And what a story that is. He kicks 2 goals on debut, the son of the late Paul Deere.
Yeah, probably his mum. He probably didn't see her come in because she came in late. Didn't she come in for the game? So
came in from London.
I reckon that's about 6 schoolmates or good mates who were absolutely chuffed for him, and he couldn't wipe the smile as he ran away for them. What it must be to be 18 and playing in your first game of footy, a winner with 2 goals next to your name.
Can I just add on there? Contested possession 67 to 94. That is a drubbing. Tackles 59 to 72, a further drubbing. It sometimes gets down to want and how hard you're prepared to get your hands dirty. Can't always be Liberatore nor Bontempelli nor English. Others have got to contribute.
Libba finished the game on the bench after he inadvertently copped a boot to the face. He was split open on his forehead, had blood streaming down his face, and we got our fingers crossed it's nothing more serious than that, but he certainly was going through the concussion protocols given his recent history, so that is a big watch for the Dogs. We'll come back to the Bulldogs in just a moment. I'm keen to get the takes of Brad Sewell and Mick Moldhouse on what today means for them. They're 3-5, but for the Hawks, it's an uplifting result. They're 2-6 on the season. They're on their way into the rooms, and Rory Campbell is about to be met by them downstairs. Rory, what can you see from down there?
Oh, you sense this one means a lot, guys. They're just making their way into the rooms now. There were some big cheers and fist pumps in the Hawthorn tunnel when that final siren sounded. They're just forming up at the moment. Cal Shadir, the debutant, you'd expect he probably makes his way to the middle of the circle for the traditional sports drink shower. It's already started. The team song's unfolding now.
What a moment for the Hawks. Thanks, Rory. We'll be back with you shortly. Hopefully we can get some quick reaction. We're on for another 10 minutes or so here at Docklands. 5 lead changes, including 2 in the final term. The Hawks beat the Bulldogs by 5 points in an upset in round 8 at Docklands. Still to come, the 26th edition of the Q Clash between Gold Coast and Brisbane. So that is on the way. The Bulldogs side of things, Mick and Sully. So there's been a whole lot of talk about, the selection policy and senior players that are in the twos and guys that are off contract. The bottom line is they're just not playing well. So they've lost 4 of their last 5 games. They're 3-5 on the season. And pressure's mounting on Luke Beveridge and his team.
Well, 3-5, and you look at Hawthorn now 2-6. There's only a game difference. And we've got to work out where the Dogs finished last year. They didn't finish in the 8.
Yep.
They were outside the 8.
Just finished 9th.
Yeah.
Lost to West Coast in a crucial match.
And that's right. And that's so. Do we overvalue? We know how many good players they've got. Do we overvalue their last 6 to 8 players? Because there are a number of incidents today, or is it simply that they get beaten up against sides that work harder than them? And I say work harder than them at the ground level because certainly the contested football was. That's a damning result, 67-94. But also, I was watching midfield players, and Hawthorn were able to march out time and time again and get the ball to almost their half-forward line. Is it why the method, or is it work ethic to get across and stop that next mark, thereby denying that side a shot at goal or another entry inside front 50.
The other thing is Amit Baines was on with you pre-game a couple of weeks ago, I think before the St Kilda game, the CEO of the Western Bulldogs, and not just us overestimating them, by their own estimations, they think they're a top 4 team. And they're a long way off it at the moment at 3-5. The Hawks are in development mode, but they're winning today. They're a pretty happy bunch downstairs, and Jarman Impey is with our own Rory Campbell. Rory.
Well, he produced some heroic efforts in defence. Jarman, feels like this one means a lot. What does it mean?
it certainly does mean a lot. Anytime you get the chance to put on this Guernsey and have a win is always special, so we wanted to do that tonight.
In terms of what you guys are building as a club, what role do you think this win can play in that?
Yeah, hopefully we build a lot of confidence from this. We all know that we are a young development team, but each week we want to go out there and perform consistently. We haven't been able to do that, but we just got to keep fronting up and putting our best foot forward.
I'll throw it upstairs to the team. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clinch, Mick Malthouse and Brad Sewell.
Jars, Sully, well done, mate. I
G'day,
thought you were huge back there at half-back, both in the air and on the ground. Have you pulled up?
Mate, I tell you what, thank you. I am, very tired. I'm very spent. So very happy that the boys played really well. Team effort, got the 4 points. But, very tiring 6-day break. So recover.
It was a great arm wrestle. They put 3 on the board before you almost got a touch. It was quite extraordinary. But then the way you ground it back, there are a couple of lead changes, particularly in that last quarter. There's a sense of resolve and grit that appears to have developed the last few weeks.
You're dead right. What we're working on at the moment is momentum swings, understanding that and when it's happening. So it's very important that we're all on the same page. We play predictable football, but we've been working really hard on playing predictable football and understanding momentum swings.
Has there been any discussion of Sicily going forward before today?
No, there wasn't. I think he was a bit sore, a bit ginger. He couldn't cover the ground real well, so he went forward and he was good. He was able to snap that goal, and Kalsha as well played unbelievable debut. So, very proud of the boys.
Joe, congratulations on the game. I thought you were outstanding.
Thanks, mate.
Not only winning, the uncontested football, but the contested football. I'd love to see how many genuine contested footballs you won for them. Just on that, at half-time, the game had swung around. We looked up here and thought, the first few minutes, this game's going to be a one-way traffic. You fought back. Then I noticed that your extra behind the ball was helping out, so you had an extra. Then when they threw this 6th player back there, or 7th player back there with you, things started to dry up. What sort of methods do you then impose on your group?
Yeah, so we wanted to play predictable football, as I keep saying. So that 7th that comes back helps us being predictable, and then we can use shape off that, build the ball up. And so, we were able to do that. I was in the first quarter, I was like, oh no, they kicked the first 3. It's going to be a long day, but very proud of the boys and the way that they performed.
When they threw the extra forward, or their extra back onto your back,
yes.
So you end up with 7.
Correct.
Do you then who gets the initiative then to say, look, I've got to start to create, because this is going to be a 0-0 draw. We've got to be able to get the ball out of here. There's some. Well, I suppose Sicily takes it over. His leadership, does he then dedicate a player to be that player?
Not so much a player. So say that we had a spare and they equalised that, so it's 7v7.
Yeah.
I think at one stage it was 8v8. So what we do there is got to, as I keep saying, predictable football. Go in one way, out the other, and understand that it's 8v8, 7v7. So it's very important that we communicate and scan on the spot so we can minimise that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so you identify that. That's fantastic, because quite often in the hurly-burly of football, it's a little bit like, I've got a man, so therefore I'm not really... Yeah, so well done. I just wish you the best for the rest of the year. Every time I come and see Hawthorn play, you're one of the best players, so fantastic. What a great result for you.
Jarman MP's with us on ABC Sport. Jarman, as well, you go, Matt Clinch here. The swings in momentum. How much as an on-field leader are you conscious that Nick Watson misses what should have been a certain goal, and Jamara Ugelhagen kicks it out on the full, and you're a leader out on the field trying to, I don't know how much you practice those late-game scenarios and trying to execute under those circumstances?
Yeah, just to identify the momentum. So, like you said, you're like, oh, we missed that. That was a good opportunity to get in front there or to hold the lead. So it's very important when it's your time to go, you make a good impact. So we have been working on that numerous times throughout the year, and that's something on the forefront of the leaders' minds.
Take that compliment too, Jarman, from Mick, because if he wasn't happy with your game, he'd more than happily tell you. He'd say, look, I'm not sure what you're doing out there, Jarman, and yet he doesn't hand those out freely.
I believe that. So, yes, I'll take that.
It's well-deserved. Well done, Jarman. It was a joy to watch you guys play today, and we'll see you next Saturday down in Tassie.
Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Jarman Impey from the Hawks. They win their second game of the year. The Bulldogs fall to 3-5. The Hawks by 7 points at full time. The last 7 points in the game scored by James Sicily.
Would you go to Jamari Ugelhagen after the game? Quickly.
We don't know what he's been through. So I don't know what he's been through. But as far as his efforts today,
the late shot out on the full, racing the clock.
He just didn't seem to be present. He was sort of looking. He was sort of a person up in the stand, looking down at him, at his body, and so he just didn't seem to be imposing himself, nor part of it. So we don't know what sort of impact he had beforehand.
No late change in the Q Clash. We're less than 2 minutes from taking you to the Gabba for the Lions and the Suns. Harry Sharp is the sub for the Brisbane Lions and Ben Long for the Gold Coast. There's no late change in that game. 5 lead changes here. The Hawks winners by 7 points after 2 of those lead changes came in the final term. The votes from Brad Sewell and the ABC Footballer of the Year.
Dylan Moore, 1 vote, 24 disposals, 1 goal. He's been an energiser for the Hawks. 2 votes to Bontempelli. He was the Bulldogs' best player, 26 and 2 goals. And 3 votes to Mick's new love child, Jars Impey. 27 disposals. He was critical of halfback.
What a day he had. 3 for Impey, 2 for Bontempelli, and 1 for Dylan Moore. I think we got a little more than we bargained for here at Docklands today.
A lot more. It's a great game.
I'm just looking at the ladder for now, and you look at the games next week.
Yeah,
all of a sudden that Hawthorn St Kilda game has a bit more about it, and the Bulldogs take on Richmond.
Yeah,
that's a game, isn't it?
That's what I mean. So, wow.
The two losers from today on Sunday footy meet next week, Saturday night at the MCG. So Freo by 54 points over Richmond. Hayden Young was best of field with 30 disposals and 2 goals. And here it was Hawthorn by 7 points over the Western Bulldogs. Jarman Impey best on, according to Brad Sewell, our expert on ABC Sport. Other news out of today, Tom Green's been cleared of serious damage to his ankle, so he will have to pass a fitness test, but hasn't been ruled out for Saturday's game against Essendon. And from the MRO, Callum Brown has been offered 3 matches, came back careless, severe and high for his bump yesterday on Tom McCartan that left him concussed. Signing off from Docklands, the Hawks by 7 points over the Dogs. Thanks to Mick Moldhouse, to Brad Sewell, to Rory Campbell downstairs, to Matt Clinch, to Mitch Turner back in the studio, to Cool Jules McKenzie for all his work at the buttons. The Hawks by 7 points, causing an upset over the Western Bulldogs. The footy is not done. 1 game to bring down the curtain on round 8. The Q Clash is up next.
Away. Looking for an easy way to find out what's happening in the world of sport? Stay up to date with the week's best sports stories, highlights and analysis with the ABC Sport newsletter.
Oh, that is amazing!
It's sports content to make you think or allow you not to. Delivered to your inbox every Saturday.
Game, set, bingo!
To sign up and get the latest sports news each week, head to abc.net.au/connect, scroll down and select ABC Sport.